Chapter 467. Lin Chen was alone. With a saber and a sword, the 4 combat emperors were forced to retreat. They couldn't believe that they would be defeated by a junior after living for such a long time. The more the 4 emperors fought, the more shocked they became. Each of Lin Chen's combat skills were practiced to perfection, even more perfect than these veteran combat emperors who had lived for tens of thousands of years. There were almost no flaws in each of his moves. What was even more frightening was that Lin Chen had temporarily reached the highest level of his purple-golden pupils, the golden pupils twin. He could predict the movements of the 4 combat emperors by using the spatial ripples and the fluctuations of his battle chi. In addition to Lin Chen's terrifying speed when he activated the ultimate moment, the 4 combat emperors were completely defeated. Lin Chen was suppressing the 4 combat emperors. They couldn't even split up and adjust their formation. Lin Chen, who had activated the God Slayer, was able to fight the 4 combat emperors head-on. Now that he had entered the ultimate moment, the energy of the runes could support Lin Chen to increase the power of his combat skills by 4 times. No matter how the 4 combat emperors fought, Lin Chen, who had the innate talent of the God Slayer, had the runes to increase the power of their combat skills by 4 times. It was impossible for Lin Chen to maintain the ultimate moment. It was also impossible for the 4 combat emperors to attack by harassing them or relying on by Yunxing's late-stage, second-layer cultivation base. Because Lin Chen had millions of dragon power points, his mental strength had reached a level above the transcendence realm. 8 Huang Palace, Spirit State. Many experts were in a chaotic battle. At this moment, the 8 Huang Palace was being suppressed by the army led by the Bai family. Damn it! These bastards from the 8 Huang Palace are really difficult to deal with. A half-step combat emperor of the Bai family was pushed back by an elder of the 8 Huang Palace and cursed. Suddenly, the sky rumbled. The half-step combat emperor of the Bai family raised his head and saw a few beams of light intertwining. He had found his elder, Bai Yu. Grand Elder Bai Yu. It's great that you are here. Thank you for helping us suppress the 8 Huang Palace. Bang! Boom! A watery moon sword beam shot out like a shooting star. The half-step combat emperor saw with his own eyes that his Emperor Realm warrior, Elder Bai Yu, was sent flying several thousand miles away by the sword beam. The sword light's aftershocks pushed back the mountains in all directions, flattening thousands of miles of mountains and rivers. What? This sword strike startled the experts of the 8 Wind Palace, causing them to stop their battles and stare at the figures flying towards them from the east. A total of 5 War Emperor auras that could destroy the heavens and earth swept across the starry sky. The 5 of them intertwined with one another, and one of them was even fighting against the 5 of them alone, not falling into a disadvantage at all. He was even able to suppress the other 4. His silver robe was as white as snow, and the sword in his hand glowed with boundless sword light. Every sword strike illuminated the void for thousands of kilometers, and it contained an aura that could slay emperors and slaughter demons. His saber technique was like the descent of the night sky. When the saber was unleashed, the void of the heavens sank into darkness and absorbed the sharp light of the saber. The other 4 combat emperors surrounded him and attacked him madly, but they were forced to retreat again and again. Lin Chen pulled the Eternal Night War saber and slashed out furiously. The pitch-black saber mark slashed out furiously, absorbing and crushing the surrounding space. Bai Yunxing slashed back with his sword, and the azure-blue sword light dispersed countless dark battle chi. The sword edge slashed down, and after the saber chi swept out, a water calamity sword light that could divide the heavens and the earth flashed across the horizon like a stream of light. Lin Chen's palms formed into claws and slammed forward. When his eagle claws forcefully blocked Lin Chen's sword light, Ling Qing flashed past and punched at Lin Chen's head. The fist light suppressed the world, and the chanting of 10,000 Buddha Sanskrit could be heard. At the moment when the charging rune was activated, Lin Chen's body spun in the air like lightning, and he performed the divine shadow wind demon kick. His dragon force exploded like 1,000 dragons in the sea, and his leg kicked out like a thunderbolt. The wind calamity battle chi that cut through the void rolled out like a tornado, and collided with Ling Qing's fist light. A golden light exploded, and Lin Qing was repelled. The gloomy and cold ghost hand transformed into a giant python that shot towards Lin Chen. Lin Chen's eyes were as sharp as lightning. A wave of raging spirit power that could destroy the universe fiercely rushed towards Lin Chen like the wrath of Azura. It shattered Bai Yu's sneak attack. The 5 figures crisscrossed. The 4 emperors couldn't attack, so they switched to delaying tactics. However, they were defeated by Lin Chen's soul-slaying slash combined with the purple phoenix wings and astral treading teleportation. 70 to 80,000 miles away, the 8-Wind Hall and Bai family's experts were stunned, and their scalps went numb. Hiss. 1 against 4? The Ling family's wind absolute dual emperors, Ling Qing and Ling Xiao, these 2 old monsters have also appeared? He actually suppressed Elder Bai Yunxing. What kind of god is this? That's not right. Isn't that Lin Chen, the 4-time champion of the Heavenly Spirit list? What kind of joke is this? That's 4 war emperors? Isn't that kid just a Yuan venerate? The 8-Wind Hall and Bai family's experts all sucked in cold breaths. 1 against 4 emperors? This world must be crazy. A few months ago, Lin Chen had defeated 4 purple merit rankers from Ba Huang Hall. Now, they were running away as if they had gone crazy. Damn it, this kid is already overturning the heavens at the Yuan venerate level. If he can fight war emperors, the 8-Wind Hall will be flattened by him in no time. As the pupils of the golden eyes twin turned, Lin Chen noticed the many Yuan venerates above the 8-Wind Hall who were fleeing in all directions. The corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. His figure suddenly turned, and the Earth Tribulation battle chi surged out like a storm of yellow sand that swept through the desolate lands. 1,000 Desert Soul Light. The Eternal Night War Saber slashed through the void, and the Earth Tribulation saber chi shot out from the tip of the saber. It traversed thousands of miles and transformed into a sandstorm of saber chi. The terrifying sandstorm of saber chi swept across the land. Every speck of sand had the terrifying power to easily penetrate the defense of a peak 9th level Yuan venerate. The sandstorm scattered and pierced through the Bai family's Yuan venerate powerhouses. Even the half-step martial emperors were sucked into the tornado and killed. Almost 90% of the allied forces that had attacked the 8-Wind Hall were annihilated by this move. Their bodies were burning with the light of the will of the Saint Flame, allowing Lin Chen to easily distinguish who was the enemy. Although the power of this saber strike was strong enough to flatten the entire 8 Huang Palace, it didn't hurt any of them. The Wanzai Xian Green Dragon, who had entered the Azure Dragon Shadow State, swept through the battlefield once again. The sword chi forced Ling Qing back, and the saber chi forced Bai Yunxing to retreat. However, Lin Chen's eyes turned cold. You actually dared to divert your attention to the others when facing the 4 of us. You've finally exposed your weakness. The moment the Earth Tribulation battle chi condensed into the Wanzai Xian armor, Ling Xiao sneered and smashed his claw on Lin Chen's back. Chi. Bang. Crack. Crack. Lin Chen's Wanzai Xian armor was shattered on the spot. The claw wounded Lin Chen's body, and the murderous aura seeped into his body, causing Lin Chen to bleed from the corner of his mouth. Before he fell to the ground, he spun his saber and sword in the air rapidly, turning into a whirlwind of saber light as he fell into the void. Just as Ling Xiao was about to follow up with another attack, his face suddenly turned extremely pale. His legs had already disappeared without a trace. Lin Chen, who had fallen to the ground, still had a faint sneer on his face. Damn it, what kind of freak is this kid? How can he predict to such an extent? Ling Xiao was about to retrieve his legs. For someone of his cultivation level, As long as he reconnected his wounds and circulated his battle chi, there was a higher chance that his legs would be reattached. Rumble! The gung metal sword chi could destroy the stars. As it shot towards Ling Xiao, it pierced through the void and destroyed Ling Xiao's legs into nothingness. This made his face even paler. I'm not that easy to deal with. Are 4 war emperors that strong? Today, I, Lin Chen, will kill an emperor. Chapter 468. Arba Huang Palace. Tens of thousands of years of accumulation turned into nothing just like that. But it seems like most of them are dead? It seems like that Lin Chen saved us? The 8 Wind Palace's experts who had successfully escaped said with fear in their hearts. From the saber strike just now, Lin Chen seemed to know which camp they belonged to. On the other side of the battlefield, high up in the sky, Ling Xiao, whose legs were cut off, looked pale as he quickly retreated. Lin Chen activated his Water Calamity, Wood Calamity Battle Chi, and Wood Calamity Battle Chi, as well as the Wood Spirit Essence Technique and the Pure Water Scripture. He was healing his wounds at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. At this moment, a giant energy sword that was tens of thousands of feet tall appeared above Lin Chen's head and fell from the sky. This giant energy sword was covered with countless ghost-shaped battle chi. It was like an ancient heavenly rock. Lin Chen, with your injured body, how are you going to withstand our combined attack? Today will be the day you die. Bai Yunxing shouted coldly. This was the strongest attack of the 3 battle emperors. It could even shake a 3rd stage battle emperor. We don't know who will die yet. Lin Chen sneered. When the 1,000,000 points of dragon power were condensed, the rune's energy decreased by 18,000 points. Circulating the special meridians of the Soul Slayer Slash, he activated the most powerful attack. Soul Slayer Slash. A dazzling reddish-gold saber light flashed out from the Eternal Knight's saber's edge. The saber chi soared into the sky and all the space crystal walls were turned into nothingness by this saber light. All the living beings within 100,000 miles, no matter if they were humans or beasts, they were all frightened by the aura of death emitted by this saber light. This saber light was sad and beautiful, like the fall of dusk. The reddish-gold saber light was tens of thousands of feet wide, releasing a suction force that could swallow the stars and the moon. Wherever it passed, the space collapsed, yin and yang were in chaos, and all the living beings were sucked dry by the saber light. Boom! The saber light broke the giant energy sword and destroyed all the battle chi. The 4 battle emperors were sucked into the saber light and didn't even have the chance to escape. Crack, crack! The sky cracked open, the space crystal walls that were hundreds of miles long. The saber chi lingered in the air and broke open all the clouds in the sky. Then, a faint blood-red cloud condensed, and a blood-red rain fell from the sky. A chilly wind howled and wailed. This was the strange phenomenon of the heavens and earth. The elders of the Ba Huang Palace couldn't help but take a deep breath, and their hearts were trembling. They had never thought that there would be a day where they would witness the fall of the battle emperor. Every war emperor was a top-notch figure that emerged from the countless geniuses in the world. Furthermore, they had to have the will and courage to face death and break through the bottleneck of the war emperor realm. One had to know that to become a battle emperor, one had to first destroy one's battle chi natal palace. If one failed, one would die. How many peerless geniuses and monstrous geniuses had stopped at this step? How many peerless geniuses had been overshadowed by the bottleneck of the battle emperor? One could imagine how difficult it was for a battle emperor to be born in this world. But today, they were lucky enough to witness the death of the legendary heavens and earth heavens. Everyone stared blankly at the silver-robed young man in the sky. Killing the heavens and earth heavens. Lin Chen couldn't suppress the ecstasy in his heart. He used almost all of his strength in this attack, and even used the rune of penetration. After the rune of penetration shattered the combined attack of the 3 battle emperors, the rune of penetration pierced through their bodies. In the sky, countless elemental light balls filled the sky and a few dazzling treasure chests floated in the air. Other than that, there were two bodies floating peacefully in the sky. Their vitality was completely gone, which made Lin Chen excited. The bodies of the heavens and earth heavens. Those were the bodies of the heavens and earth heavens. If the azure dragon could devour the bodies of the heavens and earth heavens, he might be able to reach the peak of the sixth order or even half of the seventh order. Furthermore, the spirit receiving rings on their bodies were treasures among treasures. Lin Chen instantly used the astral stepping teleportation technique and rushed toward the two bodies of the heavens and earth heavens. Rip! Unexpectedly, a space jade slip was torn open and a golden space tunnel appeared. Bai Yunxing grabbed the two bodies of the heavens, and Ling Xiao followed closely behind. They entered the golden space tunnel at lightning speed. Trying to escape? Lin Chen drew out his sword again in a flash. However, the meridians in his body were throbbing with pain. Before the blade chi was released, Lin Chen's expression showed that he was in pain. This moment of hesitation allowed the two to escape with the bodies. Before they left, Bai Yunxing cursed viciously. "Damned brat, there will be a day when this emperor will personally come and take your dog life. When that time comes, you will know that in front of me, you are not even an ant." Just as he finished speaking, the golden space tunnel shrunk and disappeared. F***ck. Damn it, almost. Just a little bit more. My two bodies of the heavens and earth heavens. Lin Chen was flustered and exasperated. He cursed loudly. He had used too much battle chi in the ultimate moment and had reached his limit. Because of that moment of hesitation, he had missed the opportunity to let Green Dragon break through. Killing the two heavens and earth heavens meant that the opportunity to activate the God Slayer talent. Unless he stepped into the heavens and earth heavens and earth heavens, it was almost impossible to replicate this achievement. One could only imagine how much Lin Chen regretted. In fact, Lin Chen was already proud of the fact that he could kill the two heavens and earth heavens and earth heavens. Every heavens and earth heavens and earth heavens had lived for tens of thousands of years. Who knew how many trump cards they had accumulated? If the four of them had not insisted on fighting Lin Chen head-on and were afraid that Lin Chen would become their biggest threat after he escaped, they would have had the ability to escape. At the very least, 3 of them would have been able to escape. They would not have ended up in such a miserable state. The God Slayer talent is about to end. Now is not the time to hesitate and regret. Feeling that the battle chi in his body was weakening, Lin Chen tossed aside all his emotions. If he returned to his normal state, even a 9th-level Yuan Venerate would be able to make him suffer, let alone a heavens and earth heavens. Lin Chen summoned the green dragon and collected all the elemental light balls in the air. These attribute light balls were all dropped by the 4 combat emperors. Most of them were dropped after the fall of the 2 combat emperors. All of them were combat technique soul essences, runic energy, heaven's path points, and talent points. It was the first time Lin Chen had seen something of such high quality. Ignoring the attribute light screen that was popping up crazily, he reached out and grabbed the many treasure chests that were floating in the void. Host has opened the purple crystal treasure chest and obtained the active talent. Ultimate recovery. Specified earth heavens and earth heavens can be used to replenish the host's battle chi, mind power, and flesh shell state in an extremely short period of time. The required earth heavens and earth heavens will depend on the host's cultivation, state, battle chi consumption, and other factors. Host has opened the purple crystal treasure chest and obtained the passive talent, Emperor Slayer. If the host launches an attack with killing intent, there is a 0.1% chance of triggering an instant kill mechanism that allows the host to instantly kill the opponent. It is suitable for all living beings below the heavens and earth heavens. Chapter 469. In Lin Chen's heart, the regret and vexation from before were instantly drowned by a huge ecstasy. First, it was the ultimate origin convergence talent, which was the talent he lacked the most. After obtaining the ultimate moment, Lin Chen was always in a state of insufficient battle chi. As long as his attacks were slightly more aggressive, his battle chi would immediately be depleted. As for the passive talent, Emperor Slayer, it was a little vague to Lin Chen. This talent could only be expected and not relied on. The 0.1% chance of Emperor Slayer was 1 in 1,000. According to the known probability, it should be 1 in 1,000 attacks that would trigger the instant kill mechanism. However, if Lin Chen was facing a battle emperor in a normal state, who would attack him 1,000 times? Not to mention 1,000 times, even one attack would be a problem. Even getting close would be a problem. Forget it, at least this talent will not let my life be completely hopeless. Lin Chen shook his head and laughed. After the God Slayer was removed, this talent would be the only way for Lin Chen to threaten a battle emperor. Suddenly, Lin Chen's eyes focused. Not far away, a beautiful woman was staring at him with a painful and struggling expression. It's her. Lin Chen was slightly surprised. This woman was Murong Qingxue, whom Lin Chen had saved before. Her eyes were filled with pain, intense killing intent, and hatred. There was also a trace of despair in them. The will of the Saint Flame Seed is controlling her? Lin Chen was shocked. He moved slightly and flashed to Murong Qingxue's side. His palm pressed against the beautiful woman's snow-white forehead and released his battle chi to ease her pain. At the same time, Lin Chen's battle chi flew into her body rapidly. In her spirit sea, a wisp of red fire seed was burning. The fire seed spread out like a net, connecting Murong Qingxue's spirit seed and her will. Is this the damn thing? Break for me. Lin Chen circulated the 8 types of battle chi to form a ray of light and shot it out. The red fire seed made a squeaking sound and retreated like a mouse seeing a cat. 8 types of heavenly tribulation battle chi converged into a giant net, which suddenly pounced over and enveloped the crimson fire seed. Oh! Murong Qingxue's struggling and painful expression flashed past and was replaced by her usual quick-wittedness and puzzlement. You've recovered? How do you feel? Murong Qingxue was both shocked and puzzled when she saw the young man in front of her and recalled her previous memories. I think I'm being controlled. It seems like the entire Mu Rong family is being controlled. Lin Chen, you're actually a war emperor? Lin Chen shrugged. I'm not that heaven-defying. I'm only handsome once, and I'll change back later. But you saved me again. Murong Qingxue gritted her teeth. The young man who had saved her time and time again was perhaps the most complicated existence in her life. When he quietly entered her heart, she realized that he was the person she hated. But he was so unique. Time and time again, 4 consecutive champions of the heavenly spirit list. Even the 4 war emperors who had been famous since ancient times were not his match. How many people had such a peerless demeanor since ancient times? Lin Chen wasn't a fool. He shook his head and smiled. Why do you have to wrong yourself? Isn't it good to live for yourself? Why must you let your family or other people's grudges bind you? Murong Qingxue was stunned when she heard this. Lin Chen's expression turned grave as he felt the battle force in his body gradually weakening. Let's return to the academy first. The entire spiritual state is in chaos now. I'm afraid things aren't that simple. Perhaps it's just as those 4 fellows said. They have already caused a revolution in the spiritual state. Okay. The beauty nodded obediently, her beautiful eyes flickering. Lin Chen pulled Murong Qingxue and tore through the void. He stepped into the spatial crack and disappeared into the void, leaving behind the astonished powerhouses outside the 8-wind hall. Lin Chen, who had entered the void, moved forward while assisting the manifold profound Azure Dragon in refining the boundless energy within the Azure Dragon origin source. This time, it had devoured so many 9th and 8th level Yuan Venerates, half-step sovereigns, and hundreds of Yuan Venerates. Its dragon veins had already been connected to 20,000. 20,000 veins. That was 200,000 dragon power points. This number was more than double the previous number. However, its lethality was far more than double. In terms of pure strength, the manifold profound Azure Dragon already had the destructive power of a mid-6th level Yuan Venerate. Coupled with its many mystiques, it could even contend with a late 7th level Yuan Venerate. However, its dragon veins were still constantly being opened. Lin Chen couldn't imagine the end of the Azure Dragon's growth this time. According to Lin Chen's conjecture, the revolution in this war was most likely related to the Bai family. Furthermore, they could summon the remnant will of the sacred fire seed. The will of the sacred fire seed existed in the depths of one's spirit. After accumulating for a long time, it would definitely know the host's body like the back of its hand. Once it rebounded, the consequences would be unimaginable. Those powerhouses who had refined the sacred fire seed before might be controlled. Most importantly, those who had refined the sacred fire seed before didn't have the protection of mysterious techniques like the Genesis scripture and the 9 calamities of creation like Lin Chen. If that was really the case, then the spiritual state might have already started a war that had never happened before in history. Based on the hundreds of thousands of years of history of the spiritual state, there were simply too many powerhouses who had absorbed the sacred fire seed before. The sacred fire seed was one of the most important resources for nurturing the young prodigies, saints, and saintesses of the ancient families. From the upper echelons of the ancient families to the young saints, everyone would probably be controlled. The Heavenly Song Academy probably won't be able to escape this. I don't know if they can survive this calamity. It turns out that the heavenly secret I divined during the Heavenly Spirit List Diviner Conference was actually this calamity. According to the predicted timeline, it would take at least 20 years before it would erupt. What exactly caused this calamity to descend on the spiritual state so early? Many thoughts flashed through Lin Chen's mind as he moved forward rapidly. At that moment, his battle chi began to decrease abruptly. Startled, Lin Chen hurriedly withdrew from the void and entered stealth mode. Battle chi transformed into 9 battle chi natal palaces from his limbs and bones. His pure power began to decrease continuously, and his mind power also began to shrink continuously. It was as if time was flowing backwards. Finally, the number of battle chi natal palaces gradually decreased to 3, and Lin Chen returned to his original 3rd level Yuan Venerate cultivation. The God Slayer innate skill had come to an end. As expected of the current version of the system's strongest innate skill. Even after removing the innate skill, I don't feel any burden from being in a weakened state. Lin Chen exclaimed as he unfurled his purple phoenix wings. At that moment, he was already tens of thousands of miles away from the academy and was not far from it. At the Heavenly Song Academy, the entire academy had fallen into a state of panic. Of course, most of the elders were still in a calm state. Over 100,000 members of the Yen family had migrated here and avoided the calamity of being exterminated. At the same time, the members of the Yen family and the Han family had also migrated along with the students of the Heavenly Song Academy. The Yen family had also revealed the secret of the sacred fire seed to the Heavenly Song Academy, shocking the academy. At least half of the Grand Elders at the Heavenly Song Academy had refined the sacred fire seed. Once they started fighting, they would immediately be attacked by enemies from the outside. Chapter 470. Therefore, the Vice Principal personally oversaw the academy and gathered all the high-ranking elders who had absorbed the sacred fire seed. If they showed any abnormalities, the Vice Principal would immediately suppress them. They couldn't even self-destruct. However, if the Vice Principal wanted to suppress all the elders who had absorbed the sacred fire seed, she couldn't participate in the battle. Without her combat strength, it would be a fatal blow to the current situation. On the other hand, What was even more devastating was that Lin Chen's situation had been reported back to the academy. You guys came back on your own. Where's Lin Chen? Why didn't you bring him back? 4 battle emperors from the Bai and Ling families appeared in the Han family? Wait, what did you just say? Lin Chen covered your retreat? A Yuan venerate like him covered your retreat? In the secret chamber of the academy's higher-ups, those who hadn't absorbed the sacred fire seed were gathered. When they heard the report from the Han family patriarch and Meng Qianma, they were completely shocked. Yan Qianyun and the other higher-ups of the Yan family were also present. When they heard the situation, the high-level fortune-tellers who had seen many monstrous geniuses sucked in a breath of cold air. A Yuan venerate stopped 4 battle emperors? A young Yuan venerate was actually able to cover the escape of the Han family from 4 battle emperors and hundreds of Yuan venerates? Even A.F. King novel wouldn't dare to write such a story. If the Han family patriarch hadn't been there personally, no one would have believed it. After obtaining evidence from many parties, the Han family's answer was the same. The higher-ups of the academy reluctantly accepted this fact. But I still can't figure out how a Yuan venerate could fight against 4 battle emperors. A few of the academy's higher-ups' mouths trembled as they muttered to themselves unconsciously, "There's no need to imagine. My strength is directly proportional to my looks." The door to the secret chamber was pushed open with a loud bang as Lin Chen walked in with a chuckle. "Lin Chen? Damn. Are you really fine? Can you really fight against 4 battle emperors? Oh my god, this is too ridiculous. We've been cultivating for so many years, but it's like we've been cultivating in the belly of a dog. Big brother, what happened to the 4 battle emperors?" Many of the higher-ups swarmed over when they saw Lin Chen return. "Idiot! How can you be so reckless?" Yan Qianyun was even more anxious as she pounced on Lin Chen's body. She inspected his body from head to toe to see if there were any flaws. However, when she realized that she had lost her composure, she immediately blushed and took a few steps back. Lin Chen scratched his head and said shyly, "I killed 2, crippled 1, and heavily injured the other. It's a pity that we weren't able to take away their spirit-receiving rings and bodies in the end. Damn it, I feel like I've lost billions just talking about this." Lin Chen couldn't help but curse. Looking at his extremely regretful expression, it didn't seem like he was lying at all. He was just like the Lin Chen of the past, who wasn't even willing to suffer a small loss. Everyone present, from the elders to the academy's instructors, stared at Lin Chen as if they had seen a ghost. Killing and crippling 2 war emperors with a Yuan venerate cultivation base? You even want to snatch away all of his belongings? Is he even human? How could he speak like a human? Seeing that everyone was completely dumbfounded, Lin Chen awkwardly laughed a couple of times before speaking in a serious manner. "Elders, you don't have to care about these things. To be honest, I was able to challenge 4 war emperors because of some secrets of mine. This is the only chance in my life. I'm still a 3rd-level Yuan venerate, so any 9th-level Yuan venerate would be able to deal with me." Lin Chen removed the 10,000-layer fire web art and deliberately revealed his cultivation base to let everyone know his background. Otherwise, everyone would think that he was able to challenge war emperors and would turn their backs on him when he encountered a war emperor powerhouse. Even so, everyone couldn't calm down for a long time. Judging from Lin Chen's spirit, he didn't seem to have suffered any injuries or paid the price of his lifespan. In other words, he had obtained the strength to challenge war emperors without paying any price? This is too ridiculous. Oh right, what should the academy do next? Where's the vice-dean? Lin Chen stopped joking and asked seriously when he saw that the atmosphere was no longer as tense. Meng Qianmo replied solemnly, "The vice-dean is in the space near the entrance of the Purgatory secret realm. He is controlling all the elders who have absorbed the sacred flame seed. The Academy plans to completely move to Tianzhou and Mingzhou. The Academy has set up a branch in Tianzhou and can implement the move immediately." Controlling all the elders who have absorbed the sacred flame seed? Lin Chen's eyes lit up as he recalled that his 9 tribulations Genesis cultivation technique could remove the will of the sacred flame seed. However, he didn't know if it would still be useful to the elders. Lin Chen, now that you have returned, we can all be at ease. It's time to evacuate. The incident in the spiritual state is no small matter. The Vice Dean has already instructed the entire academy to evacuate. We will move to Tianzhou. The fate of those who remain here is unknown. All the higher-ups said in unison. Lin Chen nodded. I know, but I have something to do before I leave. At the entrance of the Purgatory Secret Realm, inside the Secret Realm, you're saying that this little guy killed 2 battle emperors and wounded by Yunxing and Ling Xiao of the Ling family? The Vice Dean was slightly moved when he heard the elders report. Yes, although we didn't see it with our own eyes, it should be true from the reports from the elders of the Han family and the 3 elders. The elders shook their heads and exclaimed. The Vice Dean's eyes lit up. She looked back at Lin Chen, who was channeling the cultivation technique to the Grand Elders in the sealed space. The Vice Dean couldn't help but shake his head and exclaim. She had never thought that Lin Chen could kill battle emperors at the age of 20. Before the Vice Dean could finish her exclamation, waves of surprise came one after another. The Grand Elders who were controlled by the sacred flame seed gradually regained their consciousness. Huh? What happened to me before? I only wanted to attack the people of the academy. It's so scary. I seem to have received some kind of order. I only wanted to destroy the academy. Strange. I have cultivated for tens of thousands of years, and I have never encountered something like this. More and more Grand Elders and higher-ups regained their consciousness. Lin Chen was sweating profusely. Every time he placed his palm on the Grand Elders' foreheads, he would secretly channel the 9 tribulations of Genesis. As the battle chi of the heavenly calamity entered their bodies, he found the will in the depths of their minds. As the battle chi fluctuated, he crushed the will in the depths of their minds. It's done. Lin Chen sat on the ground. The Grand Elders and higher-ups expressed their gratitude to him. The Vice Dean was even more amazed. What a miraculous cultivation technique! It is indeed a cultivation technique that can create multiple types of heavenly calamity battle bodies. I'm afraid that it has surpassed the high-level purple rank. Chapter 471. This kid is indeed amazing. Our Qianyun didn't misjudge him. He is indeed the hope of the spiritual state. At this moment, a gentle middle-aged man in white walked into the sealed space, followed by 2 smiling elders in linen robes. These 3 people were the head of the Yen family, the 2nd elder in charge of the Elder Council, and the 3rd elder. Although this catastrophe is 20 years in advance, a legend has appeared in our academy. We don't know who will win yet. The vice principal smiled faintly. She waved her sleeves, and a new gentle battle chi was injected into Lin Chen's body, replenishing all the battle chi he had consumed and even showing signs of surpassing his prime. Vice Principal, should I stay and fight with the academy? Lin Chen licked his lips and said excitedly. The attribute points he gained from fighting the battle emperors made him want to stay. More importantly, he could help the battle emperors who were controlled by the seed of holy flame regain their sanity. This was a crucial opportunity. No. You must leave. As long as you are alive, we still have hope. Don't think that you can stay here just because you can get rid of the seed of holy flame. The scale of this war in the spiritual state is beyond your imagination. With our current combat strength, we don't even know who our enemies are. You can't stay here. The vice principal's expression was so serious that even some of the grand elders were moved. They had never seen the vice principal with such an expression. Lin Chen's mouth twitched and he sighed in his mind. At this moment, the vice principal opened her white and delicate palm, and a faint orange light shone out. Boom! The entire Heavenly Song Academy could clearly see an orange light pillar blooming in the sky above the academy. The elders, instructors, and students who were evacuating all turned their heads and stared at the orange light pillar. More than a year ago, the emergence of the purple merit warrior had caused a similar phenomenon. However, this orange light pillar was much brighter than the purple merit warrior. The light pillar shone millions of miles away. All the forces and cities that were once affiliated to the Heavenly Song Academy, as well as countless panicked citizens, stared at the orange light pillar in the direction of the Heavenly Song Academy. This is orange rank. It can't be wrong. This is the light of the birth of an orange rank in Heavenly Song Academy. This is the first time in the history of Heavenly Song Academy that an orange medal student has appeared. Who is it? Who has the qualifications to obtain the orange rank? It's definitely him. Lin Chen. No one is more qualified than him. I remember that the founder of the Heavenly Song Academy, Yun Tiange, said that if an orange merit warrior appeared in the Heavenly Song Academy one day, then that person would definitely shake the entire 9 prefectures and be an authoritative figure for eternity. The spiritual state is not in despair yet. With Heavenly Song Academy as the center, all the forces and people caught in the flames of war were ignited with fighting spirit and hope. In the southernmost area of the spiritual state, the emperors appeared. Thousands of Yuan venerates and dozens of battle emperors turned to look in the direction of the Heavenly Song Academy. Heavenly Song Academy's orange medal ranker has already appeared. It seems like there are a lot of unforeseen events this time. To be able to eliminate 2 of our battle emperors at such a young age, this orange medal ranker will cause us endless trouble in the future. Those old foxes from the Yen family actually hid in the Heavenly Song Academy. Who would have thought that they would be the first to predict our next step? No matter what, let's set out and destroy the Heavenly Song Academy. Clouds move in all directions as the emperors appear. Target: Heavenly Song Academy. Inside the mystic realm, Lin Chen stared dumbfoundedly at the vice principal's beautiful smiling face and said in disbelief, This is an orange medal? Yes. I originally intended to give it to you when you reach the 9th level Yuan Venerate. Although it is still a little early, it will belong to you sooner or later. Lin Chen, you will be the first and perhaps the last orange medal ranker in the history of the Heavenly Song Academy. I believe that no one will disagree with this decision, and no one is more suitable for it than you. As the vice principal smiled faintly, all the grand elders present stroked their beards and smiled. This kid was indeed worthy of this title. Seeing that the vice principal had made up her mind, Lin Chen took the orange medal. As it trembled slightly, it attached itself to his robes as if it had a mind of its own. When the orange medal recognized Lin Chen as its owner, a new memory emerged in his mind. My name is Yun Tiange, the founder of the Heavenly Song Academy. If you obtain this medal, it will prove that you have already reached the heights that I have been waiting for. I only remember that the Jiuzhou continent was established by the 100 sages of the human race. Outside of the Jiuzhou continent, there are countless realms of the human race similar to the Jiuzhou continent. There is also the legendary sacred boundary, the divine realm. The sacred boundary is the space where the sages shine. It is the origin of the human race's martial path, and the peak of the sacred boundary is controlled by the gods. The divine realm is the chaotic space-time controlled by the gods. In the past, hundreds of millions of years ago, a shocking change occurred in the sacred boundary. A being that shook the gods destroyed the most terrifying 19 levels of the sacred boundary in order to find an ally. In the sacred prison, there were all the most ferocious and evil people in the sacred boundary. After they escaped from the sacred prison, they sneaked into the territory of the human race and proclaimed themselves as God. They enslaved the human race and provided nourishment for them to repair their sage bodies. Among them, a group of sage realm criminals from the 18th to 19th levels of the sacred prison had their eyes on the Jojo continent. After they failed to break in, they maliciously provoked a war between the demon tribe and the human race. They started a full-scale war in the Jojo continent and caused the 100 sages to fall. My descendant, your mission is to eliminate all the fake gods before they can repair their damaged sage bodies. Once they completely repair their sage bodies, the Jojo continent will become hell with their strength that is close to the peak of the sage realm. The ancient and heavy spiritual voice shocked Lin Chen so much that he couldn't calm down for a long time. It turned out that the memory he saw in the heavenly spirit battle tower was the truth of this world. The Jojo continent was established by the 100 sages. Those who called themselves gods in the Jojo continent were all fake gods. They brought disaster and war to the Jojo continent and even claimed that they were the gods who created the Jojo continent. They wanted future generations to praise the great achievements of the gods. It turns out that Hun Maobai, who I killed, was only a descendant of a fake god. You actually want me to kill those evil people from the sacred boundary? You think too highly of me, don't you? Furthermore, you only left me a message and didn't even give me an inheritance. How am I supposed to do that? Lin Chen's mouth twitched when he understood the whole story. He was just a third-level Yuan Venerate who had nothing but good looks. You actually want me to kill those fake gods that even the sacred boundary feared? Isn't this unrealistic? Chapter 472. At the thought of this, Lin Fan did something that left everyone dumbfounded. He took off the orange medal on his chest and placed it back into the vice president's palm in a very polite and obedient manner. My apologies, Vice President. I, Lin Fan, am under pressure because of my looks. You should just give me a purple merit or not at all. Lin Chen smiled and scratched his head, causing the upper echelons and elders to be shocked. Was there something wrong with this kid's brain? How many top purple merits had tried so hard to become an orange merit? This kid actually didn't want it? And he even took the initiative to return it? The vice president was thoroughly amused by Lin Chen. She, who had always been otherworldly and aloof, actually burst into laughter when she saw Lin Chen's obedient and even slightly twitching face. To Lin Fan, how could he not return it? From the very beginning, he had never wanted to be a savior. He just wanted to be free and do whatever he liked. He wanted to flirt with girls when he had nothing to do. Who the hell wanted to save the world? He wasn't Ultraman. Furthermore, he was even given a lollipop and milk when he was trying to trick children and Lolas. Just a lousy medal, and he had to get rid of those fake gods who coveted the 9 states? Was he being treated as a living bodhisattva or the Holy Mother of Salvation? At worst, the 9 states would be destroyed. He could just bring his beautiful sisters and everyone from Class 66 and run to other human continents. Wouldn't that be better? Why did he have to court death? The vice president laughed for a while before wiping the corners of her eyes and saying, "Don't worry, I know what you're thinking. We naturally won't let you do this without any preparations. However, you're only a Yuan Venerate now. What we've prepared for you won't even be able to control a slightly stronger Tier 7 weapon." I don't care. Anyway, I'm not some *T good person, and I don't want to be some savior. I'll just lay my cards on the table. I don't accept any empty promises. I choose to return it. I can't afford this orange medal. I choose to be a man who has nothing but good looks. Thank you. Lin Chen's serious showdown caused the upper echelons and elders to facepalm. This was really an oddity. You can even return the goods? This Lin Chen is really a strange person. Today, we've really broadened our horizons. The head of the Yen family shook his head and laughed. He exchanged glances with the 2 elders and couldn't help but smile. All right. I'll keep this orange medal for you for now. You can decide if you want to become an orange-ranked cadet the next time you return. That should be fine, right? Not knowing whether to laugh or cry, The vice president shook his head and put away the orange medal. This was probably the worst day in the history of Heavenly Song Academy. The first orange medal in history personally awarded by the vice principal was actually returned by this brat? Lin Chen, it's time for you to leave. All of a sudden, the expressions of the vice principal and the elders became grave. It was as if they had sensed something. A large number of powerhouses were heading towards Heavenly Song Academy. How's the evacuation of the academy going? The vice principal asked a combat emperor elder who had just entered the secret realm. All the students have been transferred. Apart from a few students who insisted on returning to their families, all of them have left. Only the inheritance of combat techniques and some items from the treasury haven't been transferred. Don't worry. The items from the treasury will be our resources for the upcoming battle. The changes in the spiritual state and its future can't be determined with just 1 or 2 battles. They will continue to gather people, and we will also be anxious for the return of the elders who have been traveling the 9 states. Then, the vice principal looked at Lin Chen and said with a serious expression, Lin Chen, you're different from the others who have evacuated to Tianzhou. Your goal this time is the firmament tower of the divine land. The journey is long and difficult, and we don't have many weapons that can help you out of danger. A large amount of resources will be used for the upcoming battle. I only have 1 item, and it can help you out of danger 3 times. Remember, it will be destroyed after it's used up, so don't rely on it. Floating in the air, the green jade ring floated in front of Lin Chen. From its appearance, it looked like an ordinary ring, not even a spirit-receiving ring. This item is called the Aquamarine Aurora Ring. I spent thousands of years refining it. It can unleash 3 late-stage combat Emperor Realm attacks. It can help you get out of danger at a critical moment, but it's up to you to do it. Lin Chen took the Aquamarine Aurora Ring and cupped his fists. Thank you, Vice Principal, for giving me this ring. This reward is much more practical. I will be careful. Let's go, time waits for no one. The vice principal waved his sleeve and teleported Lin Chen and the other juniors away. All of the combat emperors immediately fled to the outside world. Sky Song Academy, Sky Island 97. Class 66 and Lin Chen were the last group to gather here. Other than the elders and instructors who stayed to fight, the rest were the instructors who were the last to leave. Lin Chen found Elder Yuan in the crowd. He immediately rushed over and handed a pill to Elder Yuan. Elder Yuan, I've specially concocted this pill for you. It can restore your battle chi to its peak and also heal your old injuries. Lin Chen was especially serious when they parted. Elder Yuan sighed, Good lad, I really didn't misjudge you in this lifetime. Elder Yuan naturally knew that restoring one's original cultivation base and healing old injuries was a difficult task even for a peak level 6 alchemy grandmaster. Elder Yuan's painstaking efforts were not in vain for this lad to be so considerate. Class Monitor, are you going to Tianzhou with us? Everyone from Class 66 gathered and Ying Liang was the first to ask. No, I'm going to the Firmament Tower in the Divine Prefecture. I can find the fastest way to grow there. Lin Chen's eyes flashed with a strange light. He still had to find the sacred god Xianlong number 47 Sage's inheritance in the Divine Prefecture. He had to go to the Divine Prefecture. Lin Lang, are we going to separate again? Yun Manqing hugged Lin Chen reluctantly. He smiled and comforted her, Don't worry, this is only temporary. Furthermore, with the sacred flame seed I left for you, you will definitely be able to ascend to the Yuan Venerate realm in the shortest time possible. You have to take care of yourself too. Ling Yueqi held Lin Chen's hand, her cold and beautiful face faintly revealing a worried expression. She knew that although she had already ascended to the Yuan Venerate realm, she would only be a burden to Lin Chen if she stayed by his side. Otherwise, given her character, she would definitely choose to follow Lin Chen to Tianzhou. The female students of Class 66 and Han Ziyun gathered their courage and hugged Lin Chen goodbye. Murong Qingxue looked at them enviously and bewilderedly. The male students exchanged glances. Everything was understood without words. Lin Chen, I have to go to Mingzhou to look for an old friend. After that, I will head to the Divine Prefecture. When the time comes, we will join forces and sweep through all the geniuses in the Divine Prefecture. Yan Qianyun smiled sweetly. Lin Chen felt a sense of pride rise in his heart. He smiled and said, "Of course." Chapter 473. Class 66 was from the desolate realm, so they didn't have to worry about the upheaval in the spiritual state. Unless the war in the spiritual state ended, the border regions of the 24 domains wouldn't be in danger. Ning Qingshuan's Ning family had the protection of the so-called God, which was one of the fake gods that coveted the 9 state. Even if the war in the spiritual state broke out, they didn't have to worry about it. Lin Chen's only concern was Bai Ruoyan. Ever since the battle between Lin Chen and Bai Tianqi, Sister Ruoyan had been missing. Now that such a terrifying war had broken out in the spiritual state, how could she protect herself alone? Let's go. We'll be the last group to leave the academy. A Battle Emperor elder who was responsible for escorting the instructors and students suddenly yelled. A spatial light rose from the center of the sky island and turned into a spatial tunnel. Everyone entered it together. The light reversed and everyone disappeared. As soon as Lin Chen and the others left, many powerful emperors' auras swept across the sky and descended upon the world. The vice principal led many Battle Emperor level masters to hover 100,000 meters high in the sky and looked at the blurry figures in the distance. Ugh! You guys touched the master's willpower? Heavenly Song Academy, I didn't expect you to be able to do something as ridiculous as removing the willpower. I should have eliminated you guys from the beginning. An unprecedented war between emperors started in the sky above the Heavenly Song Academy. Before Lin Chen left, he didn't know that it was his sister Ruoyan who led the emperors of the spiritual state to start the war. In the floating cloud pavilion in Tianzhou, several figures stood at the top of the pavilion, and their auras were as powerful as emperors. I didn't expect the catastrophe of the spiritual state to come early. It hasn't been long since the Heavenly Spirit List Conference started, and the spiritual state is already in chaos. Should I get involved? No. The upheaval in the spiritual state is no small matter. One side has joined forces with many ancient families. Even with the power of the heavenly state, we have to join forces with most of the forces to deal with them. Do you think we have the power to do so? The best choice is to wait and see. The 5 figures talked heatedly. Only one of them, a white-haired elder, calmly stared in the direction of the spiritual state. 3 days later, the spatial tunnel teleported them to the edge of the spiritual state, which was tens of millions of miles away from the Heavenly Song Academy. This is the innumerable spirit sea of the Heavenly Mountain. It is the largest sea in the spiritual state, and at the end of the innumerable spirit sea is a spatial boundary point. It is said that the boundary point is an infinitely distorted space that will devour everything. However, we only need to cross the Tianshan mountain range to reach the border between the Tianzhou and the spiritual state. The leading Battle Emperor elder sighed, which immediately attracted Lin Chen's attention. Yan Qianyun said goodbye here. She wanted to go to Ming Prefecture, but she had to take another path. You guys go first. I still have things to do. After I'm done, I'll leave. With that, Lin Chen dashed towards the innumerable spirit sea. Everyone looked at each other helplessly. No one could guess what Lin Chen was thinking. However, they didn't have to worry. They were already at the edge of the spiritual state, and the battle between the battle emperors wouldn't extend so far. Lin Chen dashed into the innumerable spirit sea. The sea was vast and boundless. Even if Lin Chen used his full speed, he could jump thousands of miles in an instant. After Lin Chen's battle aura was almost depleted, he saw a dark spatial black line. At the end of the sea was a strange spatial black line that went straight to the sky. It was only about 40 meters away from the sea. The starting point of the spatial black line was an extremely small vortex. The space at the starting point was completely distorted and collapsed. It couldn't repair itself and was in a state of perpetual distortion. Just as I thought. The spatial boundary point is just as I expected. Lin Chen's eyes lit up. This spatial boundary point was similar to the black hole that he knew from Earth. It was the same principle. However, although it was much smaller than a black hole, its principle was similar to a black hole. It was an infinitely distorted space. Every time the spatial boundary point rotated, it would release powerful energy waves that spread out like ripples and set off raging waves in the sea. If one got too close, even the strength of a battle emperor would be sucked in, and it would be difficult for them to escape. However, at this moment, Lin Chen began to form a shocking plan in his mind. It seems that I have to prepare a big gift for those guys who started the war in the spiritual state before I leave. Lin Chen chuckled and turned around to leave. One day later, at the bottom of the world viewing sea in the northern region, a young man repeatedly punched out, causing the waves on the sea to surge violently. He punched a hard tunnel through the cliff by the sea. 3 days later, at the Nether Earth Sea, a similar situation happened again. In just 10 days, Lin Chen destroyed more than 10 sea areas. These were the main sea areas of the spiritual state, and 80% of the water came from these sea areas. He changed the direction of the seawater so that all the seawater in these sea areas flowed towards the innumerable spirit sea. When the sea level began to rise and the seawater reached the starting point of the spatial boundary point, the space suddenly trembled. The seawater of the innumerable spirit sea was sucked into the spatial boundary point, forming a spatial vortex that sucked in all the seawater. With the influx of seawater, the spatial boundary point began to sink gradually. It sank even deeper into the sea than its original position. As a result, the entire sea was gradually drained and swallowed. However, the innumerable spirit sea was the largest sea area in the spiritual state, and its seawater was more than a few trillion tons. It was not something that could be seen in a short time. The most that could be seen was that there was a moderate-sized sea vortex in the innumerable spirit sea. And this vortex, given enough time, would become the first great gift that Lin Chen would give to his enemies when he returned. 1 month later, in Danzhou, one of the 9 states continent. Danzhou's rising sun city was a huge city with hundreds of millions of people. Over the next few days, Rising Sun City was going to hold a small elixir gathering. There was a hubbub of voices as many powerful figures and yuan venerate powerhouses gathered there. At the moment, Rising Sun City was also filled with high-level alchemists. There was no lack of level 6 alchemy grandmasters among them. Rising Sun City's Qinyan Street was a special area where many alchemists would exchange natural treasures, barter, elixir pills, and elixir recipes. A corner of Qinyan Street attracted the attention of many powerhouses. A silver-robed young man wearing black sunglasses was lying on a soft bench. Next to him was a jade bottle with the words 82 Farah engraved on it. He was very comfortable. With his hands behind his head, a faint wood attribute battle chi lifted a book titled Single Machine King's Pretentious Secret Manual and suspended it in front of him. He was carefully reading it. What was even more eye-catching was the signboard next to the silver-robed young man, which attracted the attention of many powerhouses passing by. King-grade substitute refinement, purchasing large amounts of natural treasures of level 6 and above. Accepting substitute refinement on the spot. Substitute refinement of all elixirs below level 7 is no problem. The more difficult the elixir refinement is, the more the required medicinal ingredients will be. This simple and straightforward sentence made all the powerhouses passing by stop in their tracks. Substitute refinement of all elixirs below level 7? How arrogant would one have to be to say such a thing? The success rate of a level 6 alchemy grandmaster refining a top-notch level 6 elixir was generally less than 50%. Could this kid be a level 6 alchemy grandmaster at such a young age? Chapter 474. This kid's aura is very young. Although he has concealed his cultivation base and age, I estimate that he is not more than 100 years old. TSK. Not even 100 years old. How can he be a peak level 6 alchemy grandmaster? There were only a handful of prodigies in Danzhou who could reach the peak of level 6 alchemy within 100 years of age. Even among the ancient families in Danzhou, there were no more than 5. This condition was too harsh. To reach this level with just 100 years of cultivation, one had to be at least 100 times more talented than many alchemy prodigies. Kid, you can help me refine pills? I, Shao Qing, would like to see it for myself today. In the crowd of onlookers, a fat man in embroidered clothes with an arrogant face stepped out. With a flick of his thick and solid palm, he threw out a few spirit-receiving rings and a scroll of pill recipes. You have business so soon? The silver-robed youth put away the secrets of acting tough and took off his sunglasses with a smile. This youth was naturally Lin Chen in disguise. He had spent more than a month to finally cross the borders of Spirit State, Sky State, and Blood State and reach Danzhou. South of Danzhou was the Divine Land. The 9 states continent was so vast that even a war emperor would take many years to travel around the borders of the 9 states continent. Lin Chen had used the 9 tribulations to travel through many high-grade space passages and make friends with some forces before reaching Danzhou. Lin Chen's battle force had improved slightly over the past month, and he had defeated many high-level dire beasts to reach the mid-stage of the 3rd level. As for the manifold black azure dragon, it had completed its transformation and reached the heavens in a single step. It had gone from 10,200 dragon veins to 68,000, and its pure strength had reached 680,000 dragon power points. After devouring a large number of Yuan Venerate powerhouses, Lin Chen's azure dragon had advanced from the mid-stage of level 6 to the early stage of level 6. In terms of pure strength, its destructive power was comparable to an early-stage 8th level Yuan Venerate. Combined with many mystiques and the manifold black azure dragon's dragon race characteristics, it could even wrestle with early-stage 9th level powerhouses. Triple Fire Ring Pill? It's only a mid-grade 6th order pill. That's not challenging at all. Also, the herbs in your 3 spirit storage rings aren't enough. Add on 3 10,000-year-old blood ginseng, 2 mid-grade 6th order fire-attributed vicious beast cores, and 5 earthly soul essence lotuses. I'll help you refine them to the best quality. How about it? After reading Fatty Zhao's pill formula, Lin Chen waved his hand domineeringly. Shao Qing sneered and said, "No problem. If you can really refine the best quality, then we'll do as you say. But if you fail, you will have to compensate me for all my losses." Shao Qing was a veteran 6th level Yuan Venerate powerhouse in Danzhou. He simply didn't believe that Lin Chen would be able to refine it successfully. His actions this time were simply to extort Lin Chen. After all, only a 6th level alchemist grandmaster would have enough confidence to refine a 6th level mid-high grade medicinal pill. This kind of person was really too difficult to invite. That's what you said. Lin Chen waved his hand casually and a light blue, top-grade 6th order pill furnace appeared on the ground. This was his spoils of war from killing a half-step combat emperor while he was in his god-slayer state. Without hesitation, Lin Chen opened the 3 spirit storage rings that Shao Qing had thrown over and accurately selected the herbs he needed. Lin Chen circulated his mind power and slapped the pill furnace with both hands. All the herbs flew into the pill furnace instantly. What? He's refining all these herbs at the same time? That's impossible. Could he really be a 6th level alchemist? Before the surrounding powerhouses could react in shock, an even more shocking scene appeared one after another. The Thunder Calamity Battle Chi danced with his spiritual power, and his fingertips danced. When he formed a hand seal, lightning flashed. When his right hand's 5 fingers formed a seal, 8 layers of fire seals circled around the pill furnace. Were they 2 completely different alchemy hand seals? Damn. Am I seeing things? He's using 2 different alchemy hand seals at the same time. So fast. The 8 layers of fire seals made the temperature of each layer of the pill furnace different. The lightning-attributed alchemy hand seals made the formation of the herbs faster and faster. The division of labor is clear and smooth. Many powerhouses sucked in a cold breath. Fatty Xiao, who wanted to scam Lin Chen, was dumbstruck. Rumble. In less than 15 minutes, the pill furnace emitted a red glow and condensed into a pill cloud. Then, the sound of rolling thunder came from the pill cloud. Pill lightning appeared. The clouds moved in all directions. All the powerhouses on the street looked in the direction where the pill cloud was condensing. They couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. A mid-grade 6th-order pill had appeared. Which alchemist was refining this pill? You can take the pill lightning yourself. I don't have time. When the pill was about to appear, Lin Chen raised his eyebrows at Xiao Qing. The latter was stunned for a moment, then immediately cupped his fists and said happily, "No problem." Xiao Qing stepped into the air and punched the pill lightning fiercely. After shattering the first pill lightning, he turned his fist into a claw and used all kinds of advanced battle techniques. When the pill cloud dissipated and the pill was really out, the dazzling pill light illuminated the shocked faces of the crowd. This 15 minutes. He managed to refine a high-grade 6th-order pill in less than a quarter of an hour. He's a real genius in alchemy. There's no doubt that he's a genius on par with the strongest alchemy geniuses in Danzhou. Master, may I know your name? Xiao Qing quickly put away the pill and handed over the agreed herbs with both hands. He looked at Lin Chen with admiration. My surname is Xiong, and my name is Chumo. Lin Chen said casually. The disguised face of the young man appeared cold and arrogant, unfathomable. Xiong Chumo. Good name. Master Xiong Chumo, me too. I want to refine it for you too. Me too. Me too. Many powerhouses swarmed forward, fighting madly to sign up for Lin Chen to refine pills for them. In the next 3 days, a rumor spread throughout the entire Sunrise City. A young alchemist at the peak of the 6th Order had appeared out of nowhere in the Green Cloud Street. He could refine all the pills below the 7th level, and he only needed a moment to refine them. His success rate was infinitely close to 100%, and he had never failed even once to this day. The pill cloud and pill lightning that appeared on the Green Cloud Street again and again proved the authenticity of the rumor. Some people even calculated that the highest number of times it appeared was 26 times in a day. Was he still human? 26 6th-order pills in a day? What kind of god was he? Even the city governor's mansion of Sunrise City was shocked. On the 4th day of the Green Cloud Street, Lin Chen's business was booming, allowing him to harvest an unknown number of 6th-level heavenly materials and earthly treasures, filling up more than a dozen high-grade spirit storage rings. He had made a killing, and in addition to that, he had a photographic memory of pill recipes. Lin Chen had already obtained a large number of high-grade pill recipes. Chapter 475. Lin Chen had obtained a large number of spirit crystals and cultivation techniques from the hundreds of yuan venerates he had killed in the spiritual state. However, he still lacked a large amount of cultivation resources. A battle chi natal palace that had condensed 8 types of heaven calamity battle bodies still required a lot of cultivation resources to break through to the 4th level of the yuan venerate realm. I, Lin No Xiong, will not refine today. I have collected enough materials for the first 4 episodes. Everyone, please return to your homes and find your mothers. See you again. Lin Chun packed up his stall and got up. Countless powerhouses who were watching anxiously tried to persuade him. Don't. Master, please refine it again. I am relying on this elixir to break through to the 7th level of the Yuan Venerate realm. Master, I am willing to provide 40 types of high-level level 6 medicinal herbs. I will get them for you as long as you name them. Please refine the 9 Phoenix Jade Royal Elixir again. Lin Chun waved his hand impatiently. I already said that I have packed up my stall. If you do this again, I will not be polite. I am Yang Qinger from the City Lord's residence. Please refine the elixir for me again, Master. A graceful voice that was as light as a cloud of smoke was heard. Everyone was so shocked that they opened up a path for her. A beautiful woman with long hair that reached her waist walked over leisurely. She had an exquisite figure, a pure temperament, and a pair of delicate peach blossom eyes secretly sized up Lin Chun. Her cherry lips parted slightly as she smiled. Qinger is willing to ask Master to refine the elixir for me again. Is that okay? Her voice was very graceful and pleasant to listen to. It was easy for people to become intoxicated by it. Men and old seniors who were as strong as Yuan Venerates felt as if they had been bathed in a spring breeze. However, the first thing that caught Lin Chen's attention was not her voice, appearance, figure, and temperament, but the ray of light above her head. Yes, that was the light of an attribute light ball. It was a purple crystal treasure chest that was glowing with a golden light. This girl is a little interesting. The items in purple crystal treasure chests are generally not simple goods. I have to think of a way to touch her head and leave. Lin Chen was fiddling with his little idea when he suddenly squinted and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. So it turns out that they are from a big family. They even have 2 9th-level Yuan Venerates protecting them in secret. This is going to be tricky. Lin Chen wasn't the only one who was surprised. Yang Qinger was the same as well. This young man didn't even pay attention to her at first glance and wasn't subdued by her charm at all. Why does he keep staring at Qinger's head? Is there something on Qinger's head? What a strange fellow! Muttering in his heart, a certain Lin in front of him said seriously, I said I won't refine it, so I won't refine it. Miss, please leave. Seeing Lin Chen's rejection, Yang Qinger smiled sweetly and said, Grandmaster, don't be anxious. Qinger was born in the City Lord residence of Rising Sun City. As long as Grandmaster is able to concoct the elixir that Qinger wants, Qinger can provide any medicinal herbs that Grandmaster wants. Oh, the City Lord's mansion? Lin Chen's heart skipped a beat, and he said with a playful smile, I don't want the herbs. If you insist that I do it, that's fine. I only have one condition, and that is to let me touch your head. Hearing this condition, not only the beautiful woman, but also many of the experts present were stunned. Why the F***ck did he want to touch her head? If he wanted to do something bad, shouldn't he be touching other parts of her body? Grandmaster, help me refine the elixir. I'll let you touch it. A fat Yuan Venerate rushed out excitedly, but Lin Chen sent him flying with a kick. Who the F***ck wants to touch your head? How about it, little girl? Do you agree to my condition? If you don't, I'm leaving. How dare you? The young lady's body is priceless. How can she tolerate the blasphemy of a nameless junior like you? The 2 gray-robed elders scolded Lin Chen coldly before stepping forward. The space around them started to distort and many powerhouses retreated as their eyes narrowed. These 2 were actually 9th-level Yuan Venerates? Powerful battle chi pressure surrounded Lin Chen. Your sincerity isn't enough, little girl. Lin Chen sneered indifferently. Yang Qinger hurriedly waved her hands. Uncles, don't be rash. Young lady, if anything happens to you, we won't be able to answer to the City Lord. The 2 old men advised and reduced the battle chi pressure on Lin Chen. Yang Qinger spoke very seriously. Qing'er is unable to fulfill Grandmaster's condition for the time being. If Grandmaster can fulfill our condition and complete another task for Qing'er, Qing'er can let you touch. At that moment, Yang Qing'er sent a secret voice transmission to Lin Chen. Her cheeks flushed as she finished speaking. The beautiful woman's enchanting voice tickled Lin Chen's ears. Then, Lin Chen replied without batting an eyelid. What condition? Represent Rising Sun City in the Small Elixir Association and get into the top 3. No problem. At night, at the City Lord's mansion. The entire City Lord's mansion was abuzz with discussion. Young Lady Qing'er, who had little contact with the opposite sex, had actually taken the initiative to bring a man of the same age back to the mansion. The guest room was filled with an ancient fragrance. It was simple yet elegant. Lin Chen sat cross-legged and opened the system interface. Heavenly Path Possession System version 4.0 Host. Lin Chen Cultivation. Mid-3rd level Yuan Venerate Limit Power. 69,000 Dragon Power Mid-grade Blood Energy. 218 700 Mid-grade Battle Chi Essence. 205 500 Mid-grade Mind Power. 17 Mid-Law Phase Realm. Mid-grade Cultivation Technique Soul Essence, 53450 Mid-grade Rune Energy, 17655 Heavenly Path Points, 245 550 Talent Points, 255 880 Mid-grade Elemental Energy, 59 for Fire, 50 for Earth, 54 for Wood, 55 for Metal, 46 for Water, 58 for Lightning, 64 for Wind, 5 for Light, 88 for Dark. Cultivation Technique Status Column, Open, Bloodline Status Column, Open, Passive Talents, 15% Reinforced Iron Bones, 50% Increase in Life, Emperor Slayer. Active Talents, Ultimate Moment, Ultimate Convergence. Special Runes. Level 4 Slowing Rune, Level 4 Penetration Rune, Level 4 Charging Rune, Level 4 Illusion Rune. Treasures in Possession. 18750 Tier 6 Medicinal Herbs, 13 Tier 6 Medicinal Pills, 89 Tier 7 Medicinal Herbs, 14 Tier 7 Rare Ores, 229 Intermediate Blue Rank Combat Skills, 582 Advanced Blue Rank Combat Skills, 190 Top Blue Rank Combat Skills, 59 High-Level Combat Weapons, 18 Top-Level Combat Weapons, 9 half-purple rank combat skills, 17 incomplete purple rank combat skills, 2 low purple rank combat skills. Lin Chen's cultivation technique soul essences, rune energy, talent points, and heavenly path points were all shockingly high. Although the God Slayer talent would reduce the drop rate of light balls, he had killed hundreds of Yuan Venerates, 7 to 8 half-step sovereigns, and 1 war emperor, so the drop rate of light balls was still terrifying. These high attribute values were one of the reasons Lin Chen ventured into the Divine Continent. As long as he did not encounter a real war emperor, Lin Chen would be able to suppress and cripple even a half-step sovereign with just a slowing rune with 1000 rune energy. No matter how strong the enemy was, Lin Chen would not be able to surpass these attribute values in a short period of time. Once he used them up, it would be impossible to replenish them in a short period of time. Unless he killed a war emperor, he would not be able to do so. However, if Lin Chen had not had the life-saving Azure Sea Ring given to him by the Vice Dean, he would not have been able to take a single blow from a war emperor, let alone kill one. System, I want to strengthen reinforced iron bones and life increase to the highest level. Chapter 476. An electrifying numbness spread through his limbs. His flesh shell's defense had increased by another level. With the addition of the wood spirit essence technique and life force, as long as he didn't suffer a few waves of attacks from a 9th level Yuan Venerate, it wouldn't be enough to cause any fatal damage to him. Lin Chen hesitated over the fusion function again and again before choosing to give up. He had obtained a large number of high-level cultivation techniques from many Yuan Venerate spirit storage rings, but he still hadn't activated the fusion function. Lin Chen already knew from the last round of fusion that it was very difficult to advance a cultivation technique above the purple grade. It wasn't easy to fuse mid-level and high-level purple grade cultivation technique. Even if he could fuse a mid-level purple grade cultivation technique now, he couldn't guarantee that it would be what he needed. Therefore, he had to accumulate a large number of cultivation techniques before fusing them in one go to ensure that he could obtain sufficient opportunities to increase his combat strength after consuming a large amount of heaven path points. At that moment, someone knocked on the door. "Master Xiong, are you resting? Qing'er has something to confirm with you." "Not yet. Please come in." The door was pushed open. Lin Chen closed the system window and saw Yang Qing'er enter the room. "It's so late. Miss Qing'er isn't here to talk about dreams and study the human body structure, right?" Lin Chen suddenly smiled. Behind Yang Qing'er was a middle-aged woman in a palace robe. She was even stronger than the two old men from before. The young woman waved her hand and battle qi enveloped the room, blocking out all sounds. Seeing this, Mr. Lin crossed his arms in front of his chest, his face full of horror. What were they trying to do? They were even silenced. "I'm still a child. Please use more strength." "Oh no, please be civilized." "Master, have you heard about the recent upheavals in the spiritual state in the Jiuzhou continent? And Lin Chen of the spiritual state?" Yang Qing'er's gentle and charming face had a sly look. Lin Chen's eyelids twitched slightly as he laughed. "I've heard a little about him. I heard that Lin Chen is very handsome." "Why do you say that, Miss Qing'er?" "Master, you must be Lin Chen." Suddenly, Yang Qing'er's words shocked everyone. Even a 9th-level Yuan Venerate or a half-step monarch wouldn't be able to recognize Lin Chen's disguise. However, this little girl had actually seen through it. Lin Chen looked at her deeply. At this moment, the beautiful woman in palace attire was beside him. Even outside the room, there were experts standing guard. If Lin Chen were to forcefully make a move, it was unknown if he would be able to obtain the treasure chest and escape from the city lord's mansion. After thinking for a while, he calmed down and said with a faint smile, "I don't know what Miss Qing'er means." "I don't understand." "Prince Lin Chen, stop pretending. I recognized you when you were refining pills for me." He can freely switch between multiple alchemy hand seals and use 2 alchemy hand seals at the same time. He's good at disguising himself and his alchemy style is not restricted to one pattern. Yang Qing'er covered her mouth and chuckled. "Prince Lin Chen, after all, there are only a few alchemy grandmasters in the entire Jiuzhou who have your alchemy skills and are so young. F***ck. Did I think that I was recognized because I didn't pull a long face like other alchemists? Sigh, in the end, my temper is still too good. I have to change this bad habit. Sigh, being handsome is really annoying. You've already been recognized in Danzhou. So, what do you want to do, little beauty?" Lin Chen shrugged and simply admitted his identity. This little girl seemed to be hiding some craftiness under her pure and beautiful appearance. Seeing Lin Chen admit his identity, the beautiful woman in palace attire couldn't help but tremble. As one of the few large cities and alchemy families in Danzhou, they were very well informed. They had heard that this young man called Lin Chen had the strength to kill war emperors. After admitting his identity, it seemed that the experts outside also took action. They approached Lin Chen's room and silently surrounded him. However, Lin Chen was calm and composed. He had enough confidence to escape from the city lord's mansion. "In addition to the original conditions, I would like to add another condition. Of course, we will have enough remuneration to pay Prince Lin Chen. However, I would like to ask Prince Lin Chen to become the champion of the minor alchemy gathering. This time, there will be another alchemy genius from an ancient family participating in the gathering. His alchemy skills can be ranked in the top 10 in the entire Danzhou. If Prince Lin Chen can win, the City Lord's Mansion will provide 800 types of high-grade 6th-level medicinal herbs and 10 types of 7th-level medicinal herbs for Prince Lin Chen to choose from. Yang Qing'er said sincerely. This generous reward had indeed moved Lin Chen's heart. Sure, no problem. Although this is not much different from what I originally wanted to do. Also, there is another favor. If Prince Lin Chen is willing to help us, then the reward that we promised Prince Lin Chen would be doubled. That is, when Yang Qing'er mentioned the third condition, Lin Chen was instantly delighted. Sure. I'm good at bragging. This double reward is mine. At the scene of the minor alchemy gathering in Shuyang City. This was the preparation for the elixir gathering held by Danzhou to select top alchemists from all over the country. There were a total of 500 alchemists participating in the minor alchemy gathering. The top 50 alchemists would be qualified to participate in the elixir gathering. Today, many powerhouses specially came to the scene because the representative of the Yang family and the city lord's mansion was the most mysterious Master Xiong Chumo on Qingyun Street. However, Master Xiong was representing the Yang family today and had changed his name. At the scene of the elixir gathering, in the vast number 233 alchemy arena, a young man in white with sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes stared at Lin Chen in front of him. The corner of his mouth twitched slightly. You are the representative of the Yang family? Why didn't Qing'er go to the arena herself? What kind of loser is this? These days, even some nobody can stand on the stage with Prince Lin Chen? Ning Ke sneered and shook his head. He looked at Lin Chen as if he was looking at some rare ferocious beast. Oh my, ugly melon and cracked dates? You're looking down on me. Lin Chen raised his eyebrows and laughed mockingly. He was not surprised by this kind of thing. Ha! A loser like you is not qualified to talk to me. I don't care whether you are Yang Chumo or a loser. After I win the championship, Miss Qing'er will agree to marry me. It doesn't matter who comes. I, Ning Ke, will defeat all the alchemists. Looking at his heroic face, Lin Chen did not know whether to laugh or cry. At this time, the whole venue was filled with messages. The small elixir gathering officially begins. You have to prepare your own elixirs. The time limit is 20 days. The one who can refine the elixir with the highest level will win. Bang, bang, bang. Many alchemy furnaces landed on the stage. Alchemists from all over the world started to refine elixirs in a race against time. Ning Ke took out an alchemy furnace at the peak of the 6th level, which shocked everyone. But the next moment, all the alchemists present, including the referees and the higher-ups of the city lord's mansion, stood up abruptly. Their expressions were full of astonishment and disbelief. It was not because of Ning Ke, but because of the young man in the silver robe, Yang Chumo. Each alchemist had only one alchemy furnace in front of them. Only Yang Chumo took out 9 alchemy furnaces at once. What was he doing? It was not like he was frying vegetables. What was the use of taking out so many alchemy furnaces? The young man in the silver robe brushed his bangs aside. A wild smile appeared on his ordinary and cold face. Since I have made my move, let my legend begin from Danzhou. Chapter 477. Alchemy was popular in Danzhou, so it attracted countless powerhouses. Each alchemy competition was more exciting and intense than the previous one. Alchemy geniuses were as numerous as carps crossing the river. Many forces came to find alchemists and offer them to their own sections. The minor elixir gathering was an important screening segment before the elixir gathering was held. At the moment, millions of spectators had already gathered at the venue of the minor elixir gathering in Four Sun City. There were heavenly dipper marshals, yuan venerates, and some old monsters that had been living in seclusion. Thousands of demonic eye stones were carefully set up in the venue so that everyone could watch. It was a feast that almost everyone was paying attention to. This was supposed to be a grand banquet, yet an unprecedented and unheard-of situation had occurred. Was there an alchemist who had taken out 9 alchemy furnaces? Some of the judges in the audience felt their scalps go numb as they cast doubtful glances at the Yang family. Some powerhouses even thought that the Yang family was here to cause trouble. What? Is the representative of the Yang family crazy? 9 alchemy furnaces? Is there something wrong with his head? Alchemy doesn't rely on the number of alchemy furnaces to win. Could he be here to cause trouble? The judges were unreasonable, and the various forces were doubtful. The senior members of the Yang family felt like they were sitting on pins and needles. Even though the Yang family was powerful, they didn't dare to joke around in such an occasion. Chinger, who exactly did you find to represent the Yang family in the competition? If the higher-ups of the alchemy assembly punish this, the Yang family won't be able to bear the consequences. Why don't we get this guy to come down and replace him with someone else? Some of the grand elders of the Yang family kept questioning young Chinger. She was also a little flustered. She had never thought that Lin Chen would do such a thing to the Yang family. It doesn't matter. There's no need to replace him. We'll just wait and see. The head of the Yang family, Yang Fengyun, said. A middle-aged man in a white robe and a green crown smiled casually. When he looked at Lin Chen, his eyes glinted. Ning Ke, who was holding his alchemy furnace with one hand, almost laughed himself to death. Ha 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 ha. 9 alchemy furnaces? Why don't you go into juggling? It's a pity that someone like you doesn't go into acting. Alchemy was an activity that required all one's mind, body, and mind. There were many steps in alchemy, such as battle chi, mind power, alchemy hand seals, and medicinal ingredients. Any mistake in any of these steps would lead to a complete failure. Controlling 9 pill furnaces to refine pills, that was something that even Tier 7 alchemists couldn't do. Sigh, others laugh at me for being too crazy. I laugh at others for not being able to see through me. You won't understand the loneliness of being the most handsome and a genius. I put away the Single Machine King's pretentious secret manual in my hand, silently lit a self-made cigarette, and looked up at the sky in loneliness and melancholy. Sigh, it's fine if you don't know. After all, I'm just here to participate in the competition. Yang Pincheng shook his head in disappointment. Ning Ke glanced at him. Participate in the competition? Indeed, in terms of opening performances, you are indeed more stunning than me. You are a qualified clown. After that, Ning Ke sat cross-legged in the air and waved his hand with the spirit-receiving ring. Hundreds of rare herbs floated in the void. When he operated the alchemy emblematic gesture, bright flames shone on his palms. It was dazzling, and he had become the main character of the entire venue. This is the blue level top alchemy emblematic gesture of the Ning family in Danzhou, 1000 flaming emblematic gesture. What a mysterious emblematic gesture. This is the strength of the Ning family's strongest talent of this generation. It seems that he will be the champion this time. Judging from the herbs he refined, it should be a level 6 top elixir. Some young and beautiful women stared at Ning Ke with eyes full of adoration. Just as everyone's attention was shifted to Ning Ke, some of the reclusive grandmasters of alchemy gasped from the auditorium. Their eyes were fixed on Yang Pincheng in the middle of the venue. 2 silhouettes appeared out of thin air. 2 people who looked exactly the same as Yang Zhuanfeng appeared in the hall. The 3 of them stood in a row and spread out their hands. Their spiritual power gushed out like the ocean, and their momentum was like the sun and moon in the sky. The whole venue was filled with a vortex formed by their spiritual power. It's a doppelganger technique. A doppelganger technique that can turn something rotten into something magical. What is he trying to do? Does he really want to use 9 alchemy furnaces to refine elixirs at the same time? Impossible, this is not a battle. How can a doppelganger refine elixirs as accurately as the original? Just as the powerhouses were shocked and speechless, the 3 of them spread out their palms. 10 high-level soul receiving rings appeared and were tossed into the air at the same time. Bang! 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 The soul receiving rings exploded. Various energy waves appeared between heaven and earth. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, light, darkness, and many other herbs with different attributes, and the cores of fierce beasts floated and condensed into an energy river. It was more than 2,000 feet long and dazzling as it crossed the void. There were more than 10,000 level 6 heaven and earth treasures. Everyone was dumbfounded by what they saw. Boom! A terrifying spiritual wave accompanied the emblematic gesture of alchemy. The silver-robed young man's emblematic gesture was extremely fast. The thousand soft water emblematic gesture in his left hand and the fire emblematic gesture in his right hand. A huge amount of heaven and earth treasures were poured into the 9 level 6 alchemy furnaces. The order of each herb entering the furnace could be said to be perfect and orderly. Within the alchemy furnaces, a mighty battle chi was rolling. The surging spiritual power controlled each herb to fuse into the furnace, removing the impurities, stripping the essence of the herbs, extracting the energy and turning it into spirit, refining it into liquid, and melting it into a solid crystal. There was no mistake in every step. It was so adept that it had reached the peak of perfection. This young Zhuanfeng was not bluffing at all. He could really use 9 alchemy furnaces to refine pills, and he could control it completely without any burden at all. This was no longer something that could be described with the word crazy. This was simply going to overturn the alchemy world. Using 2 types of emblematic gestures at the same time? Oh my God! And it's a single-handed emblematic gesture. His realm is too terrifying. What level of alchemy is this? Just as waves of heated discussions were set off in the venue, some of the alchemy grandmasters who had been famous for a long time trembled. They had discovered an even more terrifying anomaly. The combination of herbs in the 9 alchemy furnaces was completely different from each other. In other words, the pills in the 9 alchemy furnaces that this lad refined were different from each other. The rhythm, level of refinement, and degree of spiritual control of each alchemy furnace were completely different. It was equivalent to 9 alchemy grandmasters refining pills in the venue, controlling 9 alchemy furnaces at the same time to refine pills. This kind of thing, not to mention seeing it, they did not even dare to think about it. Ning Ke, who was at the side, looked at the dazzling array of herbs steadily falling into the alchemy furnaces in the sky. He suddenly froze on the spot, his throat emitting an owl-like sound. He can actually control 9 alchemy furnaces? Chapter 478. I really didn't misjudge him. At this moment, Yang Qing'er's beautiful eyes flashed with splendor as her heart trembled. The 3 young men standing in a triangular formation attracted everyone's attention, and they couldn't leave for a long time. The Sanqing spiritual water, 8 desolation mysterious flame, lightning flash 1,000 seals, 10,000 lightning hand, and several other alchemy hand seals were executed by Lin Chen and his 2 illusions. It was simply too much for the eyes to take in. High-level alchemy hand seals were undoubtedly more exquisite, but the consumption of mental strength was also exponentially higher. Moreover, different alchemy hand seals had different attributes, and the subtle differences they brought to the medicinal pills would also determine the final quality of the medicinal pills. Everyone was so immersed in Lin Chen's alchemy that they forgot to breathe. They forgot that they were watching a competition. Not only the audience, but the citizens of Shuyang City, who were watching the competition through the demonic eye stone, were also the same. They were all immersed in Lin Chen's alchemy. Under the control of the rapidly changing alchemy hand seals, the dazzling array of heavenly and earthly treasures fell into the 9 alchemy cauldrons like the autumn wind and rain. Everything was so smooth, perfect, and flawless. It was as if this wasn't alchemy, but an artistic performance. There were no flaws and no flaws. The audience watching the demonic eye stone, regardless of whether they were alchemists or laymen, they could all feel the extreme alchemy skills. This wasn't alchemy skills, but the art of alchemy. It was an artistic performance that belonged only to him. More than 10,000 medicinal ingredients and more than 9 different alchemy recipes mixed together. To achieve perfect differentiation and perfectly refine the pills from each recipe at the same time, even a 7th-tier alchemist couldn't do it. Without a doubt, this was the most historic and groundbreaking moment in the history of alchemy in the Dan province, and even in the 9 provinces. According to common sense, this was indeed impossible. However, Lin Chen's Genesis sacred scripture allowed him to split his mental energy and control it. This was because Lin Chen's mental energy had always been stronger than others of the same level, and because of his alchemy speed in the past. When this characteristic was used in alchemy, it could display a terrifying power. While others were preparing for the 2nd and 3rd steps, Lin Chen had already prepared for the 30th and 40th steps at the same time. So much so that controlling 2 or 3 pill furnaces at the same time wasn't a problem for Lin Chen at all. When combined with his phantom runes, he could perfectly reproduce the strength of his body. 9 pill furnaces wasn't Lin Ming's limit. However, controlling multiple pill furnaces at the same time meant that Lin Chen's concentration was completely used to control multiple pill furnaces. Thus, the speed of refining pills would be reduced to a normal level. The speed of refining pills would depend on the grade of the alchemy hand seals and experience. If mental strength was compared to arms, a normal person's mental strength would only have 2 arms, but Lin Fan's Genesis Holy Scripture allowed his mental strength to have 8 or even 10 arms. The efficiency of the two was on a completely different level. Ning Ke clenched his teeth and said, "Damn it! Even if you can control 9 alchemy furnaces, so what? This time, the small elixir meeting is about the result of refining 1 elixir. Even if you can refine 9 elixirs, so what? 1 elixir of mine can beat all your elixirs." He began to refine pills crazily. All kinds of 6th level, top level, and even a few 7th level herbs were thrown into the furnace as if they didn't care about their lives. Time passed by minute. However, to those who were immersed in Lin Chen's refining process, it felt like half a month had passed in the blink of an eye. On the 16th day, the pill cloud shook and the wind and clouds changed abruptly. The rich and colorful energy of the pill cloud rose continuously from the 9 pill furnaces of contestant Yang Zhuanfeng. When the pills came out, many people came back to their senses. Half a month had passed in the blink of an eye. Because his refining process was so exciting, almost 90% of the people were immersed in it and forgot the passage of time. When the audience stared at the 9 pill furnaces, they couldn't help but tremble at the corners of their mouths. He actually succeeded. 9 types of 6th level pills have been produced. And none of them failed. All the pills in the 9 pill furnaces were successfully refined. That's amazing! He's totally the new peerless genius of Danzhou. This is a historical moment. Since ancient times, how many people have been able to refine 9 6th level pills at the same time? No, don't be happy too early. The evaluation of this elixir association is based on the grade and quality of a single pill. It's a competition of quality, not quantity. Just as everyone was in awe, a few judges said in a deep voice. Their words woke everyone up. Yes, if Lin Chen's pills were of too low a level, it would be useless. At this time, the pill cloud condensed and surged, converging into countless pill clouds. The colorful pill cloud condensed to more than 1,000,000 feet in size and continued to condense. The pill cloud grew bigger and bigger, making some of the judges and alchemy grandmasters feel a sense of déjà vu. Rumble! The deafening sound of pill thunder shook heaven and earth, as if a large-scale disaster was about to befall. A sense of oppression hit them in the face. Something's not right. How can this pill cloud be so terrifying? This doesn't look like the pill cloud of a 6th level pill at all. SSS. Look at Yang Pingcheng's 9-pill furnaces. There are more than 9 pills in them. When everyone focused their attention on the 9-pill furnaces, they saw that there were a total of 27 multicolored lights within them. In each pill furnace, there were 3 completed 6th-level pills condensed. Furthermore, with a rough look at the quality of these medicinal pills, not a single one of them was lower than 6th-tier high grade. In other words, this kid was controlling 9 pill furnaces at the same time to refine 27 pills that were at least 6th level? Even some alchemy grandmasters who had been refining pills for thousands or even thousands of years couldn't help but be stunned on the spot. Was this still AF * King Human? Refining pills was as simple as eating and drinking. That wasn't some Tier 4 or Tier 5 medicinal pill. It was a genuine Tier 6 medicinal pill. And they were 6th-level pills. Every single elixir pill was priceless. Even powerhouses at the 6th or 7th level of the Yuan Venerate realm would fight over it. While many alchemy grandmasters and judges were shocked by the number and grade of pills in the 9-pill furnaces, some sharp-eyed audience members exclaimed in shock. "Look, what's that in the pill cloud? It looks like a single word?" Everyone looked over and saw that in the vast and tumbling Dan cloud, there were colorful and dazzling Dan clouds. Each of the Dan clouds had a different color, and they were clear as day. In the end, they actually condensed into a huge Xiao character that was thousands of feet long, floating in the sky. Xiao? Xiao? Tian Xiao? In the hall, young Master Yang's silver robe was fluttering. The clone beside him took out a soft chair and lay down leisurely. He put on his self-made sunglasses and rested his hands on the back of his head. He was talking to himself leisurely. "Who's acting cool? It's so dazzling. Luckily, I made a pair of sunglasses. Otherwise, I would have gone blind." Chapter 479. Dozens of types of pill lightning condensed into one, and its might increased sharply. The terrifying pill clouds shook the spatial crystal walls in the sky and cracked them like giant pythons. The might of this pill lightning shocked many elders so much that they had to reinforce the spatial boundary before they could relax. Ning Ke, who was in the process of condensing the elixir, glanced at Lin Chun and sneered, "So what if you've created history? The number of elixirs condensed today is terrifying. You've refined so many high-level elixirs. This young master doesn't believe that you still have the energy to safely pass through this elixir tribulation." Indeed, many people were worried that Lin Chun wouldn't be able to withstand such a terrifying pill lightning. After the condensation of so many pill clouds, the might of this pill lightning wasn't something that an early-stage 9th-level Yuan Venerate would dare underestimate. In fact, this was indeed the case. Lin Chun had expended a lot of mind power and battle chi to refine so many high-grade elixirs. It would be very difficult for him to face this pill lightning in this state. The pill lightning wouldn't give him time to recover. It would only take a moment for a terrifying attack to come. In the past, this would have been quite troublesome, but now, Lin Chun smiled faintly. In an instant, he had expended 1,000 talent points. Host has activated the ultimate origin convergence innate skill. Restoring the host. When the system screen appeared, Lin Chen's entire body began to emit a faint orange glow. It was like a firefly's glow. The spiritual energy and battle chi that he had expended were completely replenished in a single breath. It was as if he had been reborn and was in his peak state. With a wave of his hand, boundless battle chi was injected into his 2 doppelgangers. The doppelgangers' hand seals changed abruptly as they executed the 5-fold transformation of the Azura 9 Brilliance transformation. Battle Chi Natal Palaces condensed rapidly and a 5th Battle Chi Natal Palace appeared. Early stage 5th level. Lin Chen's 2 doppelgangers had both transformed to early stage 5th level. The 2 doppelgangers each held a side of the Myriad Wind Abyss and the Extreme Spirit Illusion Sword. With a flash of green light, a 10,000-year profound green dragon appeared. The profound green dragon, which had shrunk to a length of 10,000 feet, roared angrily. Seeing a living Tier 6 10,000-year profound azure dragon actually emerge from Lin Chen's body, many of the spectators were shocked to the point that their jaws dropped. Chi! Boom! The thick thunderbolt mixed with red and blue light was over 100 feet in size. Its momentum was unstoppable, causing the space in the venue to tremble violently. Clang! Roar! Blade lights and sword shadows flashed across the air, and the cyan dragon-shaped aura condensed into a cyan dragon domain, instantly weakening the power of the Pill Thunder by half. The Pill Thunder, which had almost lost all its power after being minced by the sword lights and blade lights, was finally shattered into tiny sparks by the cyan dragon with a swing of its tail. No matter how the sky was bombarded by the Pill Lightning, Lin Chen's two avatars and the Azure Dragon took it all in without any fear. The Pill Lightning, which was enough to strike fear into an early-stage 9th-level Yuan Venerate, only lasted for less than an hour before it dissipated. What caused many people's jaws to twitch was that during this period of time, young Master Yang Dingfeng had even taken a nap. "You're here for a competition, not a vacation." When the Pill Lightning dissipated, the pills in the 9 pill furnaces all floated up into the air. It was as if the 27 balls of light had transformed into the sun and moon, radiating a myriad of colors. It was a pleasing sight to the eye, and it was breathtaking. What an honor it was to be able to witness 27 high-level level 6 pills at the same time. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that it was witnessing history. These 27 pills included Lin Chen's battle chi cultivation resources, some extremely effective life-saving pills, and the body-strengthening pills that he needed to refine his fleshly shell and pure strength. The highest grade of pill is actually a top-notch level 6 low-grade pill. This lad was able to refine so many high-grade pills in such a short period of time, and he was even able to refine 3 top-notch level 6 low-grade pills. This is really shocking. Some of the referees exclaimed in surprise. The Yang family of the City Lord Manor was both surprised and worried. They were happy because the Yang family had actually been able to befriend such a powerful alchemist. Even though they were a family of alchemists, this lad was clearly superior. However, they were worried because Lin Chen's highest grade pill was only a top-notch level 6 low-grade pill. This pill was already very powerful on normal days. Even Yang Qing'er, the most outstanding alchemist in the Yang family, found it difficult to refine. The success rate of refining such a pill was less than 20%. However, facing Ning Ke, this level of pill was still not enough to guarantee victory. There are only 4.5 days left. There isn't enough time to refine another pill. Ning Ke's embryonic pill has already taken shape. It is impossible for him to fail. With his strength, he will definitely show his true strength in the small elixir meeting. I'm afraid that his pill will also be a top-notch level 6 low-grade pill. What a pity. If this lad focused on refining one pill, he would definitely be able to beat Ning Ke. Who knows, this lad's 3 pills might be of better quality than Ning Ke's. After all, Ning Ke's success rate of refining pills above the top-notch level 6 low-grade pill is extremely low. The highest he has refined is only a top-notch middle-grade pill. I just hope that he doesn't perform perfectly this time. Just as the higher-ups of the Yang family finished speaking, the Yang family head's eyes suddenly became serious. Ning Ke's alchemy furnace suddenly emitted a purple glow. The chi rushed to the sky and illuminated the 9 heavens. The purple glow began to converge into a light purple pill cloud. The wind and clouds suddenly changed and the pill thunder surged. This wave of energy! Could it be? The higher-ups of the Yang family all changed their expressions. There was no mistake. This was an energy wave that only a top-notch middle-grade pill of level 6 could have. Ning Ke had overtaken. The pill thunder moved together and the wind raged. Ning Ke looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. He looked arrogantly at Yang Peak on the other side. He flicked his fingernails and sneered proudly. See, the real champion is still me, Ning Ke. Cats and dogs should stand aside. This proud Ning Ke attracted the disgust of many of the older generation of alchemy grandmasters. The more skilled alchemists could tell that if Yang Peak focused on refining one elixir, then there was a high possibility that Ning Ke's elixir would be more outstanding. This Ning Ke was obviously not as skilled as others, but he still wanted to show off in front of others. He was really a narrow-minded person. However, in terms of the requirements and rules of the competition, he was indeed the champion of this elixir meeting. This was a fact and no one refuted it. Ning Ke turned to look at Yang Qinger of the Yang family and smiled proudly. Qinger, as agreed between our families, I am the champion of this small elixir meeting. 1 month later, I will send my Ning family to the Yang family to pick you up. Yang Qinger's pretty face was a little pale. She did not expect that she would still be defeated even after inviting a legendary alchemist like Lin Chun. At this time, Yang Xiaofeng, who was beside her, picked his ears and smiled casually. Isn't there still 4.5 days before the competition ends? What's the hurry? Lin Chun stood up and kept the 27 level 6 elixirs. Then, he walked towards the first elixir furnace. I'm just taking part in the competition, so don't think too much. I don't treat you as an opponent. Of course, winning against you is just a very boring and convenient thing. A smile appeared on the young man's ordinary face. With a wave of his hand, thousands of herbs appeared again, including 10 different level 7 herbs. Everyone was stunned. Chapter 480. Everyone was stunned when they saw Lin Chen's large amount of herbs. What was he trying to do? There were only 4.5 days left in the competition. Was he trying to refine another batch of elixirs? But there wasn't enough time to surpass Ning Ke. Rumble. But this time it was different. Lin Chen's 2 illusionary avatars stood on his left and right respectively. His alchemy hand gestures were activated, and as his psyche power surged, a large amount of herbs poured into the furnace. Wow, what? He's an assistant alchemist. His avatar is the assistant alchemist, and he's the main alchemist. This way, he can double the refining speed. But isn't this against the rules? How is this considered against the rules? He's not asking others to help him refine the elixir. He can use his avatar technique to help him refine the elixir. That's his own ability. The difficulty and pressure are the same. If this is considered against the rules, then what do you think we are? Lin Chen's original body was in the position of the main alchemist, and his 2 avatars were assisting. His refining speed was terrifying. His 2 middle fingers were bent and his thumbs were joined together. His psyche power surged out and turned into flashes of lightning and pure water battle chi, which were absorbed into the herbs. The herbs in the furnace transformed along with the changes of the hand gestures. The herbs that had just entered the elixir were being refined at a speed visible to the naked eye. Then, the hand gestures changed again. Layers of fire seals were compressed and crushed hundreds of herbs to extract their essence. Like lightning, it shot into the nucleus of a fierce beast. Bolts of lightning flashed as they struck the pill furnace, removing the impurities within the vicious beast cores. This refining speed was simply monstrous. 100 steps could be divided into 3 parts in an instant. Moreover, Lin Chen's refining speed and experience were at an unrivaled level within the same realm. Thousands of herbs could be seen condensing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Not to mention the layman, even the alchemy masters and referees in the venue were dazzled. They couldn't even tell which step had been completed, because Lin Chen's refining speed was simply too fast. Usually, when many people were refining, the main alchemist and assistant alchemists would need some time to communicate and cooperate. However, Lin Chen and his 2 avatars didn't need to communicate at all. He maintained a state of perfect comprehension at all times. Which step Lin Chen's main body needed to enter in advance, which medicinal herb to fuse, which alchemy hand seal to use in order to perfectly display the medicinal herb's characteristics or the following combination, and so on. These steps did not need to be communicated at all. The three of them were refining as one, as smooth as flowing water. What kind of joke is this? Does he really intend to refine a pill that surpasses mine in such a short time? Ning Kei's pupils trembled with fear. He could feel that if this speed was maintained perfectly, it was entirely possible for Yang Xuanfeng to refine an elixir above the lower grade of the 6th level in the next few days. Ning Kei didn't dare to have any other thoughts. He turned to face his own pill thunder first. He had to face the power of this pill thunder with all his strength. If he couldn't withstand it, his elixir would be destroyed. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. During these 3 days, many contestants produced pills one after another, but none of them were able to reach the peak of the 6th rank. The highest was the high grade of the 6th rank, and the lowest was the high grade of the 5th rank. However, almost everyone's attention was focused on the 3 young figures standing together in the middle of the venue. He was the highlight of this small elixir meeting. Before the 4th day was over, Lin Chen's elixir furnace was full of strong energy fluctuations. All the experienced alchemy grandmasters were shocked. The embryonic elixir was successfully condensed. This meant that the success rate of refining the elixir was almost 80%. He really succeeded. No. Ning Kei gritted his teeth and secretly transmitted a message to Lin Chen through the air. My friend, please do me a favor and give up on condensing the elixir. After this, the Ning family can compensate you with 2 top grade of the 6th rank elixir. This competition is very important to me, so I hope you can do me a favor. Lin Chen, who was condensing the elixir, was slightly surprised. Ning Kei realized that he couldn't beat Ning Kei in a head-on fight, so he actually wanted to bribe Ning Kei. Yang Xuanfeng laughed mockingly without any restraint. He didn't use his battle qi to cover his voice and laughed openly. What kind of dog shit are you, Ning Kei? Do the Ning family a favor? I don't care about your elixir. I've said before that this competition is just in passing. Lin Chen's words shocked many powerhouses. The experienced ones naturally knew what had happened between the two of them. Damn thing. You don't want face. Ning Kei's face turned the color of pig liver as he gritted his teeth. Then, Lin Chen suddenly slammed his palm on the elixir furnace. The overwhelming red energy of the elixir glow shot up into the sky and lingered in the void for thousands of feet. The wind danced and the silver robe fluttered loudly. As it flipped, the corners of the young man's mouth curled into a devilish smile. Of course, defeating you and becoming the champion are just in passing. Boom! The elixir lightning rumbled as Lin Chen punched out violently. He brought along his 2 avatars to deal with the elixir lightning personally. The elixir lightning, which even the early-stage 9th level Yuan venerables feared, was shattered by the young man's fist time and time again. When the elixir cloud was finally repelled, the clouds dispersed and the sky cleared up. Sunlight shone on the silver-robed young man in the arena. That slightly ordinary face was reflected under the sunlight. Other than that pair of eyes that were full of spirituality, there was nothing special about it. However, he was very attractive at the moment. He was like a peerless divine sword that was hidden in its scabbard. When the sword was unsheathed, it would definitely shake the world. He smiled faintly as he took the crimson glow elixir pill from the elixir furnace. This is a top-notch grade 610 tribulation tempering flame elixir. It uses the energy of the fire tribulation to temper one's body and allow a body-tempering martialist to break through a realm. If a fire-based battle chi user consumes it, the fire tribulation energy can be absorbed to break through a realm. Those below the 8th level Yuan Venerate have an 80% chance of breaking through a realm. Those below the 9th level Yuan venerate have a 50% chance of breaking through. His casual words caused everyone present to suck in a breath of cold air. A top-notch grade 6 elixir pill? A 50% chance of breaking through a realm? This was already a top-notch grade 6 elixir pill. If a grade 7 elixir pill or a grade 7 elixir pill didn't appear, no one would be a match for it. The difference between a top-notch grade 6 elixir pill and a top-notch grade 6 elixir pill might sound like a small gap, but there was actually an extremely obvious gap. It was just like the difference between a late-stage 8th level Yuan venerate and a late-stage 9th level Yuan venerate. 4 late-stage 8th level Yuan venerates weren't a match for 1 late-stage 9th level Yuan venerate. The gap between the two could be seen at a glance. A 9th level Yuan venerate's cultivation could take hundreds or even thousands of years to break through a small realm. A single elixir pill could save thousands or even thousands of years of cultivation effort. This was something that many people dreamed of. Chapter 481. One had to know that the lifespan of a 9th level Yuan venerate was only around 15,000 years, and the limit was 20,000 years. Advancing to a higher realm earlier meant that one had more time to accumulate the foundation to break through to the War Emperor realm. This elixir pill was enough to make all 9th level Yuan venerates who cultivated fire-based cultivation techniques go crazy. It would even be normal for them to kneel down and beg for it. At this moment, the Ning family's elders and powerhouses who were watching the competition were extremely pale. Their mouths were trembling and their eyes were trembling with fear. It was as if they had lost some precious treasure. This result had completely exceeded the Ning family's expectations. Because they were also one of the sponsoring families of this competition, the Ning family had also sponsored the treasures awarded for the competition. Everyone stood up one after another, and the entire audience cheered wildly. Yang Zhuanfeng! Yang Zhuanfeng! Yang Zhuanfeng is the champion of this small pill gathering. Yang Zhuanfeng is the strongest. Too strong. He refined a peak 6th level elixir pill in 4 days and even refined 27 superior 6th level elixir pills before the competition. I seriously suspect that this kid is a 7th level alchemist. Ha ha ha. The student has surpassed the master. I'm afraid a new page of Danzhou's alchemy history is about to be recorded. Many alchemy grandmasters smiled and stroked their beards. He won. He really won. Yang Qing'er cried tears of joy and covered her red lips with her jade-like hands. This small pill gathering could be said to determine her lifelong happiness. The Yang family and the Ning family's ancestors had once been engaged. However, Yang Qing'er didn't want to marry Ning Ke at all. Due to the relationship between the two families, the Yang family didn't dare to fall out with the Ning family and could only agree to determine the winner through alchemy. Although Yang Qing'er was talented in alchemy, she was still young and couldn't compare to Ning Quebec. Therefore, she had bet her lifelong happiness on Lin Chen during this pill gathering. At this moment, Lin Chuan turned to look at Ning Ke, who was gritting his teeth in anger, and shrugged his shoulders. Don't be so handsome. Although you aren't as handsome as me, you still have a chance. After all, winning the competition was just a matter of convenience. Don't worry, you won't meet me again in the future. Many powerhouses in the audience were both amused and angry when they heard this. Winning the championship was just a convenience? Listen, is this something a human would say? Isn't it good to be a human? However, the most infuriating thing was that he really did it in passing. From the way he refined 27 Tier 6 pills at the start of the competition, it could be seen that he had easily won the championship. He wasn't bragging after the competition, he was just stating the facts. It just sounded like he was asking for a beating. This sentence almost made Ning Ke seethe with anger. If it weren't for the fact that he had to check the elixirs and his ranking later, he even wanted to leave directly. Hearing the cheers of the audience, Lin Chen suddenly raised his hand. All the voices slowly quieted down as they stared at him. It seemed that he had something to say. Yang Xuanfeng waved his robe and pointed at the audience and the demonic eye stones in a dashing manner as he said in a serious tone, "Champion? The strongest? No. What you saw was only my handsomeness when I was shining, but you didn't see the hardships I went through 7 times a night. You have the Dan province's legacy of alchemy, but I can only insist on my own choice. An alchemist is lonely and proud. This road will be full of hardships, but there is one choice that will always be by your side. The champion's choice is the Yang family's pharmacy. I, Yang Xuanfeng, will be the spokesperson of the Yang family's pharmacy. Do you want to know why I'm so awesome? Then go to the Yang family's pharmacy. I've put everything in the world there. Go to the Yang family's pharmacy and start the era of great alchemists." At this moment the audience was silent. The demon eye stones transmitted Lin Chen's words to the outside world and to the hearts of everyone who was watching the small elixir assembly. Countless alpacas ran through everyone's hearts as the corners of their mouths twitched violently. The unfathomable and unapproachable image of Yang Xuanfeng in their hearts suddenly collapsed. Crazy! The higher-ups of the Yang family were surprised and happy. This publicity effect was not just for show. From today onwards, the reputation of the Yang family's pharmacy would skyrocket. Everyone would know about it. Many of the audience were laughing so hard that they almost stopped breathing. Yang Qing'er's tears turned into laughter. Her beautiful eyebrows curved like 100 flowers in full bloom. She was extremely charming and charming. The last condition she had agreed on with Lin Chen was to promote the Yang family's pharmacy a little after winning the championship. She didn't expect it to be so successful. It was far beyond her expectations. Ignoring everyone's gazes, Lin Chen took out a mirror, touched his chin, and looked at his slightly ordinary face in the mirror. He clicked his tongue in wonder and muttered to himself, "Why? You covered up your handsome face and threw away your vulgar appearance, but you still look so handsome. Perhaps this is the charm of the most handsome guy in the Jojo continent." Just like that, the most exciting, most outrageous, and most unbelievable small elixir assembly in history came to an end with Yang Xuanfeng's words of starting the era of great alchemists. Those 6-stage alchemists, who were famous in many places in Danzhou, almost didn't exist in the small elixir assembly this time because everyone was focused on Yang Xuanfeng. Towards this, those participants were helpless. Just by relying on his ability to produce 27 high-grade Tier 6 medicinal pills at the same time, it could be said that he had instantly defeated everyone present. There was simply no way to compete. He had completely convinced them with his strength. After winning the championship, the prize for first place was actually a top-tier blue-rank purple-gold mystic seal alchemy handprint. Lin Chen's jaw almost dropped to the ground. A top-grade blue-rank alchemy seal. This was at the level of an ancient family's treasure. Even if this was Danzhou, where alchemy was the most popular, using this thing as a prize was too wasteful, wasn't it? The elder who gave the prize to Lin Chen gritted his teeth so hard that they almost broke. Yang Xuanfeng winning the championship was completely out of their expectations. In this regard, many higher-ups of the Yang family snickered secretly. They were secretly happy to see the Ning family suffer. They knew that this was a trick specially arranged by the Ning family, who sponsored the small elixir assembly. This top-grade blue-rank alchemy seal was originally prepared for Ning Ke, who was supposed to win the championship, to show the strength of the Ning family. Except for Yang Xuanfeng, none of the alchemists present could refine a top-grade 6-stage pill. In the original plan, the small elixir assembly in Shuyang City would have no alchemist who could match Ning Quebet. However, no one had expected that Yang Xuanfeng would appear out of nowhere and suppress Ning Ke to such an extent that he lost all of his brilliance. They were completely incomparable. However, the registration handprint was like spilled water. It was impossible to take it back. If they wanted to blame someone, they could only blame the Ning clan for courting death. Their skills were inferior. Chapter 482. At night, a banquet was held in the castellan's mansion to celebrate the victory. Unfortunately, the main character, Yang Xuanfeng, didn't appear at the banquet, which made people feel sorry for him. In the castellan's mansion, a young man leaned against the window and looked into the distance with hope in his eyes. He was drinking alone. "I wonder how Sister Ruoyan is doing," Lin Chen muttered to himself. When he was in Danzhou, he was struggling to return to the spirit state to find Bai Ruoyan. Countless forces were involved in the war of the spirit state. If Bai Ruoyan was involved in any of the battles, she wouldn't be able to stay out of it. However, Lin Chen knew that he had lost his powerful trump card, the God Slayer talent. Even if he went back to the spirit state, it would be useless. He even had to rely on the trump card left by the vice principal to fight against a battle emperor. When I have the strength of a battle emperor, I will find a chance to return to the spirit state. Sister Ruoyan, you must be safe. Lin Chen sighed in his heart. The beautiful woman's voice, which was as gentle as smoke, came from behind him. What's wrong? As the main character of the banquet, why are you here in the cold wind? Yang Qing'er smiled and sat beside Lin Chen. He took a sip of wine and smiled. What's wrong? You came to find me alone. Aren't you afraid that I will do something bad to you? I'm not afraid. Thank you, young Master Lin. You are not such a person. A gentle breeze blew. Yang Qing'er stroked her fine black hair and smiled charmingly. That's not necessarily true. Who knows what is in a person's heart? I am not a good person. At least, Qing'er has never seen an alchemy grandmaster like you who doesn't put on airs. The price for making elixirs is so low. When you sneaked back to the castellan's mansion, you even gave 2 level 5 elixirs to an old man passing by. Yang Qing'er smiled. Lin Chen shook his head helplessly. He had to hide the next time he helped the old and young. What if people think I am a good person? I am going to be the most handsome man in the 9 states. Young Master Lin, can you let Qing'er see your true face? Suddenly, Yang Qing'er said as she stared at Lin Chen with her jade-green eyes. Don't be infatuated with me. I'm just a legend. Lin Chen blinked, but as soon as he finished speaking, his spirit illusion cloak removed its camouflage function and slowly revealed his true appearance. As the stars shone on the youth's face, Yang Qing'er was stunned. The night breeze blew past, revealing a very young and fair face. His eyes, which were slightly covered by his fringe, were deep and serene. His pupils were like the rotating moon, extremely spiritual. His eyebrows were sharp, and his sharpness was restrained. Just by looking at his forehead, one could tell that he was a young man who had just formed his tyrannical essence. However, the corners of his mouth were faintly raised from the beginning to the end. There was a confident smile on his face. His handsome nose, intelligent eyes, and confident smile made him look extremely charming and arrogant. While Yang Qing'er was in a daze, Lin Chen raised his hand and touched the tip of the beautiful woman's hair. The purple crystal chest that was floating above her head turned into a stream of light and disappeared into Lin Chen's palm. Host has opened the purple crystal treasure chest. Received passive talent, Divine Power 0%. This talent can increase the host's pure strength to a maximum of 100%. Divine Power can be strengthened through talent points. The maximum increase is 10 million dragon power. It is ineffective if the dragon power exceeds 10 million. Note: the Divine Power talent is only applicable to the host's body. This brand new talent immediately caused Lin Chen's eyes to light up. This was a passive strengthening talent similar to reinforced iron bones and life force growth. Furthermore, it could be strengthened to a maximum of 100%. In other words, it could double Lin Chen's strength. If the host Lin Chen had 100,000 dragon power, It could be strengthened to a maximum of 200,000 dragon power. So this is your true appearance. Yang Qing'er recovered from her daze. Her face was flushed red. Together with her pure face and enchanting voice, she looked like a flower that was about to bloom, delicate and alluring. Since ancient times, heroes loved beauties, and beauties loved heroes. Not to mention whether Lin Chen's many legends were true or not, just his performance at the small pill gathering was enough to capture the hearts of countless beauties. Yang Qing'er was no exception, not to mention such a unique and mysterious person who was full of attractive charm. Yes, it's the real deal. Lin Chen slammed his hand on the jade pillar and did a standard cabotin. He was extremely close to Yang Qing'er. His fingers lifted her delicate chin as he smiled evilly. I just happened to pass by Danzhou and met you along the way. I won the championship along the way and won your heart along the way. Lin Chen blew into her ear. For the first time, Yang Qing'er, who had always rejected men, was not repulsed. She even had a faint feeling of anticipation. Her delicate body trembled slightly as she closed her eyes. However, the next moment the young man stopped. The camouflage function of the spirit illusion cloak was activated again. He returned to his ordinary appearance and chuckled. Right, does your Yang family have the fastest way to the divine lands? Lin Chen stopped. Yang Qing'er felt a sense of loss. She glanced at him bitterly and replied softly, Yes, we have a space tunnel that is specially used to head to the divine lands. That's just nice. I was just about to head to the divine lands. Lin Chen smiled in surprise and left with the wine flask. Yang Qing'er wanted to say something, but he raised his hand. I have already received your payment. Thank you. With that, Lin Chen leaped and left the balcony, leaving behind the empty-hearted beauty. Seeing that Lin Chen actually left without doing anything, the man with the surname Shan, who was hiding at the side, pulled up his pants angrily. In the secret room of the guest room, Lin Chen opened the system. System, I want to use 50,000 talent points to strengthen divine force. System receive. The host's divine force talent has been strengthened to 25%. This result made Lin Chen a little surprised. 50,000 talent points only strengthened 25%? Life growth and reinforced iron bones from 50% to 100% only cost 25,000 talent points. For divine force, 50,000 talent points only strengthened 25%? It seemed that strengthening this powerful talent was even more difficult than the other two talents. A brand new energy surged into Lin Chen's body. The pure energy in his limbs and bones became even stronger. It was as if it had grown naturally. There was no discomfort or gap. Lin Chen currently had 69,000 dragon power. After the divine forces enhancement, it had reached 86,250 dragon power. It was a full quarter more. The strengthening of passive talents is harder in the later stages. It is already so expensive in the early stages. It seems that it is not that easy to strengthen it to 100%. Glancing at the remaining 209880 talent points, Lin Chen took a deep breath. He did not dare to use too much in case he needed it. With the two trump cards Ultimate Recovery and Ultimate Moment, he could use up tens of thousands of talent points at any time. If he did not use the 200,000 talent points sparingly, he would soon run out. Moreover, Lin Chen also discovered a problem. The divine forces enhancement could only be used on himself and his doppelganger. It did not apply to the 10,000-year green dragon. In other words, he still had to rely on the pure energy of the green dragon's possession during the extreme battle. Unless his pure energy could surpass the green dragon under the divine forces enhancement. It seems that no matter how many talents I have, it is just icing on the cake. The most important thing now is to increase my strength as fast as possible. Chapter 483. With a single grab, 2 blue level 6 elixir pills appeared in his spirit receiving ring. Lin Chen swallowed it in one go and quickly formed a cultivation hand seal. The energy of the elixir pills turned into majestic, pure battle chi that entered his battle chi natal palace. Not only did it increase the purity of Lin Chen's battle chi, but it also increased his mid-grade water-type energy. Lin Chen had previously refined 28 level 6 and above elixir pills for cultivation. These high-quality elixir pills had consumed 80% of his level 6 herbs and half of his level 7 herbs. He intended to improve his cultivation base, the strength of his 8 heavenly tribulation battle bodies, and his body-tempering domain. After a night, the Yang family took out the high-grade herbs they had promised Lin Chen according to the agreement and prepared them according to the list of herbs that Lin Chen had listed in advance. Because Lin Chen's publicity had been very effective, the Yang family's medicinal square had provided double the original amount. A total of 2,400 level 6 herbs and 30 level 7 herbs, all of which were low-grade level 7 herbs. After receiving the payment, Lin Chen set off immediately. No one could stop him. In the end, Yang Qing'er, who had mixed feelings, personally brought Lin Chen to the spatial passage of the Yang family to the Divine Prefecture. Flying to the interior of the spatial passage required the use of a special spatial artifact. In order to create a spatial artifact, one had to be at least at the 7th level Yuan Venerate realm, and the production process was very complicated. There were a total of 50 people traveling to the Divine Prefecture on the spatial artifact. Every time they used the spatial passage, there would be a special Yang family member accompanying them. Everyone who entered the spatial passage had to pay a large amount of tax, as this item was not something that ordinary powerhouses could afford. Lin Chen, who had helped the Yang family, was exempted from paying a large amount of usage fee for the spatial passage. Before leaving, Yang Qing'er reminded Lin Chen that the Yang family had been promoted to the peak elixir meeting because he had won the championship of the minor elixir meeting. The Yang family hoped that Lin Chen would be able to return to Danzhou to participate in the peak elixir meeting when the peak elixir meeting was held. Given his alchemy skills, he would definitely be able to achieve a rather dazzling result. The peak elixir meeting was a grand event at the pinnacle of alchemy in Danzhou. It was equivalent to the gathering of all the alchemists with status in Danzhou to put on the most exciting alchemy duel. This was the highest standard alchemy competition in Danzhou. Many famous alchemy grandmasters from all over the 9 prefectures were gathered here. There was no age limit, and it was also the highest standard alchemy competition in the 9 prefectures. Compared to the rewards of the Small Pill Association, Lin Chen knew that if he had the chance, he would definitely participate in such an event. Inside the spatial tunnel, a spaceship shimmering with silver-white spatial light was gliding at an extremely fast speed, resisting the spatial turbulence as it sped towards the other end of the spatial tunnel. Lin Chen, who was sitting in the designated secret room of the spaceship, suddenly opened his eyes. His purple-gold pupils flashed as he revealed an inexplicable smile. "It seems that someone is following this handsome guy and even wants to kill me. Hee, since you've delivered yourself to my doorstep, I won't be polite." Lin Chen could roughly guess who was following him, but he wasn't afraid. He would deal with whatever came his way. In this spatial tunnel, if the other party dared to make a move, they would fall into the spatial crack. Without the strength of a combat emperor, it would be extremely dangerous. Lin Chen concluded that the other party wouldn't dare to make a move here. Lin Chen took out 2 fiery red elixirs and swallowed them. As his mid-grade fire-based energy increased, the embryonic form of the 4th Battle Chi Natal Palace started to condense slowly within his body. The spatial tunnel was created by 2 combat emperors and maintained daily by a 9th level Yuan Venerate. It led to another region over a long distance and could cross millions of miles in a short period of time. Lin Chen cultivated in seclusion in the spaceship for less than 4 days. When his battle chi finally broke through to the late stage of the third level, his pure power rose to 80,000 dragon points. Coupled with the enhancement of the divine force, it was exactly 100,000 dragon points. On the fourth day, an aurora shone in. The spaceship flew out of the spatial tunnel and arrived in a desolate city. Lin Chun could feel an obvious difference the moment he left the spaceship. The space here was several grades stronger than the space in Danzhou, the spiritual state, and the other large continent. His weight had also increased slightly. The space is very stable. This is the divine land. After leaving the spaceship, the desolate city was a primordial wasteland with no obstructions at all. This was the stronghold of the Yang family. The Yang family wasn't responsible for life or death outside the desolate city. 80,000 miles away from the desolate city, Lin Chun suddenly stopped flying high in the sky above the Rift Abyss Valley. Everyone, although I know that I'm handsome, you don't have to follow me. I'm not interested in the same sex. Lin Chun suddenly laughed at the void behind him. As the space distorted, 5 figures appeared. This lineup made Lin Chun frown. 3 early-stage 9th level and 2 mid-stage 9th level. This was a top-notch lineup even among the ancient families. The 5 figures flashed and surrounded Lin Chun. The leader of the group, a mid-stage 9th level old man in green robes, spoke in a hoarse voice. "Kid, hand over your alchemy seals and cripple your own arms. Then, we'll spare your life. Otherwise, you'll die." Crippling his own arms was the price Lin Chun had to pay to never become an alchemist. In order to get back the alchemy seals that Lin Chun had obtained when he won the championship, the Ning family had put in a lot of effort. "Haha, kid, the Yang family doesn't care about this area. Even if you shout for help, don't think that others will come and save you." The other mid-stage 9th level man in red robes sneered, his killing intent strong. Lin Chun shook his head and laughed. Killing intent flashed in his eyes. "You probably don't know, but the ones who should be shouting for help now are you." Boom! Dragon light broke through the sky, and the deep azure dragon domain enveloped the 3 early-stage 9th level experts. Streaks of tribulation battle chi exploded in Lin Chun's body. His entire body flashed with a dark green brilliance. The ultimate moment plus 9 brilliance transformations, 5 layered transformations, were instantly displayed. His late-stage 3rd level cultivation rose to the peak of early-stage 5th level. The rune energy decreased by 2,000 points, and the 4 great runes were activated together. A grayish-white rune appeared out of nowhere and suppressed the 2 mid-stage 9th level experts. RIP. Tens of thousands of manifold mysterious light blades that contained 680,000 points of dragon power rotated, sharp and heavy enough to cut through a meteor. They transformed into a violent storm that rained down on the 3 early-stage 9th level experts. The 3 figures suddenly flashed, and the terrifying water palace sword light and dark blade aura burst forth. The 3 clones focused all their attacks on the mid-stage 9th level expert. Brilliant demon rights to the heavens, Azura's fury. Lin Chun's main body held the 5 dragons' imperial spear. His shoulders trembled as he was enraged. The moment the spiritual attack that could destroy mountains and rivers swept over, his dragon power surged and condensed. He transformed into the brilliant demon and pierced the sky with a shocking spear light that intertwined with dark and fire dragons. This kind of attack that looked down on the world made the expressions of the Ning family's 5 9th level Yuan venerates change instantly. From the 5 layered transformations to the ultimate moment, to the activation of the charge, penetration, slow, and phantom runes, the manifold mysterious azure dragon's surprise attack had all happened in the blink of an eye. In an instant, the position of the prey and the hunter had reversed. Chapter 484. Heavenly Star Demonic Armor. 10,000 Mammoths Wailing Palm. Great Incinerating Sound Palm. As the crowd unleashed their attacks one after another, they collided with the attack that Lin Chen had been preparing for. The 3 early-stage 9th-tier cultivators were able to block the manifold Black Azure Dragon's attack, but the same could not be said for the 2 mid-stage 9th-tier cultivators. The 1,400-point deceleration rune had frozen the space around them. This was the first time they had seen such a strange technique. The peerless spear of the brilliant demon worshipping the heavens had a terrifying mental impact that had the penetrative property. 20% of the mental impact crashed into their minds, causing them to fall into a state of mental breakdown before they could break free from the restraints of the delaying rune. What kind of attack is this? Not only can it freeze space, but it can also penetrate my battle aura defense and mental power. The green-robed elder was in disbelief as he felt a piercing pain and dizziness in his head. An energy storm swept out for thousands of miles. As he teleported, the 5 dragons' imperial spear stabbed forward and activated the 1,000 demons piercing the heart. The deceleration rune and charge rune were activated consecutively. When he unleashed his 100,000 dragon power points, his spear technique was endless. Like a torrential rain of pear blossoms, it pierced through the green-robed elder on the spot. Even though he was in the middle stage of the 9th tier, he still had a look of disbelief in his eyes before he died. He did not even know how he died. This youth's techniques were far beyond their imagination. The green-robed elder dropped a dazzling array of attribute light balls and 2 purple crystal treasure chests. The situation has changed. This kid is a monster. Retreat. The other mid-stage 9th-tier cultivator in a blood-red robe reacted in a flash. He ignited 2 battle aura natal palaces and released an extraordinary power to break free from the deceleration rune. This kid was just pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. From the strength he had displayed at the Small Pill Association, they had estimated that this kid was at most a match for 3 early-stage 9th-tier cultivators. With the 5 of them, they had a 90% chance of taking him down. But they did not expect him to be completely different from when he was refining pills in real battle. You think you can come and go as you please? With a thought, 2,000 talent points disappeared from Lin Chen's mind. He activated Ultimate Convergence and the second ultimate moment. Clang! One of Lin Chen's 3 clones let out a dragon's roar, and a pitch-black saber jumped out. The saber was held in his hand, and the saber's body was like the dark night, containing endless darkness. The other 2 clones also entered the void, and assisted the manifold profound Azure Dragon in stopping the 3 early-stage 9th Heaven cultivators. A 7th-order saber? When he saw the Eternal Night Saber, the blood-red-robed man cried out involuntarily with shock, and then he gritted his teeth fiercely and suddenly drew his skull-blood saber before slashing it down. Blood chi overflowed, and a waterfall stretched across the sky. The blood chi saber light swallowed everything in its path and furiously slashed out. As the blood energy surged, a terrifying crack appeared in the space of several thousand miles. Soul-slaying slash! Lin Chen's phantom doppelganger touched the blade of his saber. His pupils flashed with a silent saber light, and he slashed out with his pitch-black saber. The Eternal Night Saber turned into a silent dusk, obliterating all life in the surroundings and sucking out all the energy of the blood chi saber light before slashing at the blood-red-robed man. The remaining power of the soul-slaying slash burst forth, crushing the blood-red-robed man's defenses and severing one of his arms. What a terrifying attack! He can actually execute such a terrifying attack with a cultivation base that isn't even at the mid-stage of the 5th level Yuan Venerate. The blood-red-robed man was shocked. Just as he was about to escape into the void, a dragon's spear pierced through and pierced out. Only then did he realize that the young man in front of him was only a clone. The blood saber blocked the attack, and a deep twisting force and 8 types of heavenly tribulation battle chi penetrated his body. Blood flowed from the corners of his mouth, and before he could escape, the blood-red-robed man's heart suddenly shattered. What is going on?" The blood-red robed man glared at Lin Chen before he died, and a large number of attribute light balls and a few treasure chests rolled out of his body. Even Lin Chen himself was stunned. Although he had killed a mid-stage 9th-level Yuan Venerate in an instant, he had relied on the restraints of the slowing rune and the element of surprise. Although Lin Chen and his clone had used the ultimate moment to break the restraints of the slowing rune, it would still take a few more killing moves to take down this mid-stage 9th-level Yuan Venerate. How had he died with a single strike? Host has activated the Emperor Slayer innate skill. Target enemy has been insta-killed. When the system screen popped up, Lin Chen shook his head and chuckled. He had activated the 0.1% chance of insta-killing the Emperor Slayer innate skill. Wasn't this a little too lucky? Seeing that the two mid-stage 9th-level Yuan Venerates had been insta-killed by Lin Chen, the three early-stage 9th-level Yuan Venerates instantly lost their will to fight and used all their abilities in an attempt to escape. Lin Chen and the other clone, who had reacted quickly, formed hand seals and unleashed two moves of Azura's fury, shaking the mind power of the three people and breaking their consciousnesses. Rumble! The other two clones and the manifold profound green dragon swarmed forward. Lin Chen took advantage of the last 30 seconds before the ultimate moment ended to use all his strength to besiege the three early-stage 9th-level Yuan Venerates. With three clones, Lin Chen's main body, the manifold profound green dragon, and two of them in the ultimate moment state, the three early-stage 9th-level Yuan Venerates simply couldn't hold on for long. They were defeated and killed within a few rounds. The combination of the ultimate moment and the ultimate moment has increased my strength by several times. Lin Chen sighed from the bottom of his heart. Before he had the ultimate moment innate skill, his battle chi recovery was completely insufficient to support his main body and the other clone to perfectly activate the ultimate moment. Now, however, as long as he had enough talent points, he could add the ultimate moment to all three clones. His combat strength had increased by leaps and bounds. Host has received 300 talent points, 450 Heaven's Path points, 190 Cultivation Technique Soul Essences, 2800 Blood Essence, 41 Water-type Energy, 34 Wood-type Energy, 39 Thunder-type Energy, 3,500 Battle Chi Essences. Host has received a Cultivation Technique Attribute Light Orb, a low purple battle skill, Fallen Wind Sword Technique. Host has opened a purple crystal treasure chest and received God Slayer Talent Fragment, 1/3. Host has opened a purple crystal treasure chest and received 10,000 talent points. Lin Chen's eyes lit up with ecstasy when he collected the attribute light orb and all the treasure chests. It's coming, it's coming. It's starting again. The God Slayer Talent Fragment. Ha! Awesome. Let's quickly gather the other two and have a group fight. Big Brother Chen will hammer 10,000 of them. Lin Chen couldn't help but laugh maniacally at the sky as he transformed into a stream of light and swept across the horizon. 2 days later, in Luoyang City. Luoyang City was one of the main cities under the control of the ancient Luo family. Today, Luoyang City was bustling with activity. There was no other reason than that today was the day the Luo Manor would select the members to participate in the Firmament Tower Team selection competition. Most of the upper echelons of the Luo Manor had their own duties. This time, the Luo Manor would be bringing in 2 prodigies from the Luo family, hence the announcement. In the Divine Continent, only the most powerful forces had the qualifications to participate in the Firmament Tower Team selection competition. Only those who passed the selection could enter the Firmament Tower. Chapter 485. At the entrance of Luoyang City's Luo Mansion. A beautiful lady in a one-piece dress stood in front of the Luo Mansion. She had short black hair and a sword strapped to her waist. She looked like a rose blooming on a cliff as she waved her hand and shouted at the crowd. The Luo Mansion has 3 spots left to enter the Firmament Pagoda. The minimum cultivation requirement is to be an 8th level Yuan Venerate. This cultivation requirement calmed the restless crowd down gradually. An 8th level Yuan Venerate was an extremely powerful elder in an ancient family. This requirement was too high. I'll go. A streak of light shot over as the silver-robed young man cupped his fists. Huh? He's so young? Nonsense. How can he have the strength of an 8th level Yuan Venerate at such a young age? The dozens of Yuan Venerates in front of the Luo mansion looked at him doubtfully. Even the short-haired lady couldn't help sizing up the silver-robed young man. You've hidden your cultivation base. Release your cultivation base. The silver-robed young man removed the intertwining energy fire net in his body and released his true cultivation. Many Yuan Venerates sneered at him. 3rd level Yuan Venerate? No matter how arrogant he is, he should at least have some self-awareness. This young man must be out of his mind. He should find an alchemist to treat him. Many Yuan Venerates were convulsing with laughter. The weakest among them was at the intermediate 4th level. How could a late-stage 3rd level Yuan Venerate compete for these 3 spots? Could a late-stage 3rd level Yuan Venerate have the strength of an 8th level Yuan Venerate? This was simply a fantasy. Humph! What is your name? The short-haired lady scolded. This person was clearly here to cause trouble. The silver-robed young man shrugged and smiled. I am Gao Shou. What? Expert? 2 6th level Yuan Venerates couldn't help but laugh. Expert? How shameless can you be? How dare a 3rd level Yuan Venerate call himself an expert? This is the divine region. Do you think you are in a barren place? The Yuan Venerates in the crowd sneered. This Gao Shou was naturally Lin Chen in disguise. Just as Lin Chen was about to release his 10,000-year profound azure dragon to display its strength, an elegant and pleasant neutral voice slowly came from the Luo manor. He passed, and our numbers are already full. There's no need to recruit anymore. His casual words immediately stunned everyone present. The upper echelons of the Luo manor actually allowed this kid to pass? What was going on? Most importantly, he suddenly added the words Mandarin? Could it be that they didn't need to recruit anyone else now that they had this kid? Even Lin Chen and the short-haired beauty in front of the Luo manor were stunned. The former didn't expect this at all, while the latter was astonished by her sister's absurd decision. Elder sister, what are you thinking? Seriously, grumbling in her heart, the beauty waved her hand and coldly scolded. As I said earlier, the Luo manor has recruited enough people this time. Everyone, please look for a team elsewhere. Lin Chen squinted as his purple-gold eyes flashed. He discovered that the Luo manor not only had the aura of the War Emperor, but there was also a familiar scent. However, he couldn't recall it at all. That's strange. I don't know anyone in the Divine Continent. Why was I inexplicably allowed to pass? Could someone have seen through my strength? However, under normal circumstances, even the War Emperor wouldn't be able to see through Lin Chen's true combat strength. On the surface, he only had a late-stage 3rd-level cultivation base and 100,000 dragon power point. This was far from enough in the realm of an 8th-level Yuan Venerate. Furthermore, to Lin Chen's surprise, this short-haired beauty gave him a feeling of familiarity. However, he was very certain that this was the first time he had seen this woman. How did this kid pass? Isn't this cheating? What are you shouting for? If he passed, he passed. Hurry up and look for the next one. Damn it. I don't accept this. How did you pass the selection requirements, kid? A few Yuan Venerates scolded Lin Chen in dissatisfaction. That slightly ordinary face flashed an obnoxious smile. I can't help it. Who asked me to be so handsome? Handsome and strong people are so popular, F***ck. This Gao Shou is really shameless. Damn it. If it weren't for the fact that battles couldn't take place in Luoyang City, I would have cut him into pieces. In a secret room in a restaurant, Lin Chen tapped on the system. System, I want to activate the fusion function and fuse all the cultivation technique. The host possesses 229 intermediate blue rank combat skills, 589 advanced blue rank combat skills, 205 top blue rank combat skills, 19 half purple rank combat skills, 21 incomplete purple rank combat skills, and 5 low purple rank combat skills. Fusing all of them will cost 89,400 Heaven Path points. Host, do you wish to fuse them? 5 purple battle techniques. In the past, Lin Chen wouldn't have been able to imagine this. However, after killing the 5 9th-level Yuan venerates of the Ning family, he had first picked up a purple-grade cultivation technique light ball and then found 2 purple-grade battle skills in his spirit storage ring. Lin Chen's eyebrows twitched as he excitedly said, "I'm sure." Lin Chen's Heaven Path points decreased by 89,400, which consumed 1/3 of his Heaven Path points. 2 days later, he would participate in the selection competition with the powerhouses recruited by the Luo family. Before entering the Firmament Tower, it was naturally better to have as many trump cards as possible. Boom! Ding! Bang! Congratulations to host for triggering the ultimate special reward. The fusion result comes with an alchemy handprint scroll. A scroll with a strong purple glow and a blue-purple jade scroll floated out of the fusion furnace. Purple Intermediate Battle Technique. 8 Desolate Finger. Mobilizes battle chi and condenses desolate energy. The more desolate energy condenses, the stronger the power. When 8 types of desolate energy are gathered, the power will be close to that of a purple advanced battle technique. Half Purple Alchemy Handprint. Mysterious Heavenly Hand. The handprint is mysterious and can shock the heavens. Requires mid-level transcendence realm and above to cultivate. Lin Chen's expression was filled with uncontrollable ecstasy. He had finally obtained a purple intermediate battle technique after fusing so many cultivation techniques at the same time. This half-purple rank alchemy handprint is a complete surprise, but I have to keep it. If I can collect 1 or 2 more top-grade blue rank alchemy handprints and fuse them together, I might be able to fuse them into a low-grade purple rank alchemy handprint. Purple alchemy handprint. This thing was completely priceless. It was the same in Danzhou, as no one would take out such a valuable treasure to sell, unless it was of unknown origin or a handprint that could not be cultivated normally. To put it bluntly, if an ordinary alchemist did not encounter a purple alchemy handprint, it would be difficult for them to come into contact with it. With Lin Chen's current alchemy skills, he was not in a hurry to obtain a high-grade alchemy handprint. He might as well keep it and fuse it together in the future to achieve a purple alchemy handprint. I'll cultivate the 8 Desolate Finger first. This finger technique was created for my 9 calamities of creation. Inheriting the 8 Desolate Finger requires 9,900 cultivation technique soul essences. Host, do you wish to inherit it? Robbery? Lin Chen was speechless. He had killed hundreds of Yuan venerates and 2 war emperors to collect more than 50,000 cultivation technique soul essences. Now it was asking for 10,000. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.